From what was a best-of-7 series, now it's cut down to a best-of-3. This series is tied at 2 games apiece, and for the folks down here at Budweiser Gardens in London, Ontario, they're going to witness their team come onto the court for the final time this season as we welcome you to Knoxsham TV for more coverage of the 2018 NBL Canada Finals, Game 5 between the Halifax Hurricanes and the London Lightning. Good evening, Aaron Sanders, JP, Justin Prince, and you know this trilogy is really sums up to plenty of words that you could even mention for the fans out there and for the first-timers out there, because the way you could describe it, grit, adversity, humanity, good sportsmanship, and the nitty-gritty. And when we talk about that, JP, you can mention a whole lot more of adjectives, but let's get right down to the nitty-gritty. Game,
but as well the fouls, because you had multiple players that could also ended up fouling out. If you get in that same situation trying to play the interior defense and to keep up defensive pressure, it's going to be the same situation as game number 5, where even if your offense is hitting full stride, you'll be buried at the charity stripe.
Well, considering how most of the London Lightning players responded in Game 4, then no question about it, you really got to react in a very different way. Like, for example, nobody expected Maurice Bolden to drop 38 points. And once again, nobody expected Garrett Williamson along with the supporting cast to get together, considering they had to go the extra mile to stave off the Halifax Hurricanes too.
Yeah, they did for sure in that game. Mo Bolden, of course, ended up bumping up his points per game totals for the series by 3 points. That's how good of a performance he had at game number 4. He's somebody that needs to be a part of this attack. He's one of the 2 main standouts in terms of points and rebounds for London, along with Julian Boyd. Julian Boyd for the series, 19 points per game, 14 rebounds per game. So they need both of them again to be back on full cylinders. Inside with Boyd, trying to get inside and the mid-range, potentially some outside with Bolden, pardon me, and keep up the distribution you've been seeing with Doug Herring Jr., especially since London's going to be a bit short-handed, Aaron.
Well, they are going to be short-handed. 9 players on the roster today. Of course, a big, scary moment a few nights ago when Marcus Capers went down in a heap. Luckily, he's all right, but of course, due to safety precaution, they're going to elect them to sit him out tonight along with Ryan Anderson, who hasn't played since Game 2.
And as well, Ashton Smith. So, of course, that was one very scary moment where he had to be taken off on a stretcher. Thankfully, to many fans' hopes, ended up tweeting out to one of our main announcers, Chris Croucher, saying that he is good and all right. So a good sign for him in that situation, and very good sportsmanship in that situation where players from both sides ended up huddling together at center court to end up going for a prayer before he was taken off the court on the stretcher. But that leads to the situation at hand now. Anderson, of course, out with the ankle situation. Smith out with injuries in game number 3. And now you have Capers. You're down to just 4 players coming off the bench. Johnson, Dixon Green, Dallin Barrett, and Friesen Laddie. So in this situation, you need everyone really hitting their strides, because you basically got yourself only an 8-man rotation at the very most, maybe 9 if you bring in Dixon Green for a few minutes. It's going to be tough sledding for at least game number 5, and a lot of tired legs by the end of this one.
It's no question about it that we're seeing a lot of wear and tear between these 2 teams, but considering what you see on the roster sheets and everything else, both of these clubs know each other real well. They played against each other for the last 3 years, but now here's a little bit of a history moment right here. Nobody in the history of the NBL Canada Finals, JP, has come back from 2-0 down to win the championship. If London wins it, you best believe they're going to have the momentum once the scene shifts to Halifax Thursday night.
They'll definitely try and keep the momentum they had from game number 4 for sure, and game number 3. Try and keep home court, because if you're caught sleeping or end up wearing pajamas like the guy to my left, you may as well fall way on behind. This is going to be a must-win for both of these teams, because you basically set the tempo and the rest of your series for this year's finals if you come out on top and make things that much easier, Aaron.
Well, first off, don't say anything, because I think my mom's watching. If she finds out that I took her tablecloth for tonight's game, she's going to have a little bit of words for me. But on the other hand, you know, Game 5 is very crucial. A lot of people could say that this is the be-all to end-all, what this now being a best-of-3 series. You look at this. 2 years ago, this series went to a best-of-7. Last year, it went to 6 in favor of the London Lightning. So both of these clubs are gridlocked at 1 championship apiece. But it's a matter of getting those things together and making sure that you stay healthy. For the London Lightning, of course, they had a lot of problems during the past few weeks, but they did one thing persevere. The Halifax Hurricanes, on the other hand, they displayed class and they know how to use their options real well. So it's a matter of class and a team looking for redemption in the altogether.
It absolutely is at this point. Make sure you redeem yourself for the past couple games, and especially try and keep up the hunt to get another championship up at this point. You can't afford to get in the foul trouble. You can't afford to let the interior defense shut down after seeing such good defense in the first couple of games. And make sure you control that paint. London did so in the first 2 games here at Budweiser Gardens. If Halifax can control the paint for game number 5 and try and reverse the +10 advantage London had at game number 4, very good sailing for Halifax. Time to redeem yourselves on both ends of the floor. This is where you start to really hit your paychecks and try and earn your championship stripes.
Well, here we go. Like JP said, this is for all the marbles. Best of 3 series now. And we are here at Game 5. It's the Halifax Hurricanes versus the London Lightning. We'll have the anthems, the starters, and then Chris Croucher, Brendan Jameson, and Tom Croucher will provide you with the call, and we'll see you folks down at halftime. You're watching the NBL Canada Finals here on Knockstrom TV.
evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's broadcast on Knoxstrom TV. The hometown London Lightning have evened up the series at 2 apiece with the visiting Halifax Hurricanes, so we play Game 5 of the NBL Canada Finals. Brendan Jameson along with Chris Croucher and Tom Croucher on the breaks. Chris, big story of this game for the Lightning is the bench gets shorter once again.
Yeah, Marcus Capers, of course, went down with that scary injury. It's back spasms for him. Thank goodness it's not anything more serious, but a big loss for the London Lightning nonetheless. So with London being down, they also were down Ashton Smith and Ryan Anderson as well. So London essentially, if you think about the rotation they've been using for most of the year, really down to 7 players. If you look at last game, they only used 8, and Capers was one of those guys off the bench. So they're going to need someone who hasn't really played a ton in these finals to really step up. Now, whether that's Martin Dixon Green or Yohanni D'Alembert, those are the 2 guys who really kind of need to come in here and make a difference at a time where maybe they didn't expect to have to need to.
Another story of the game for the Halifax Hurricanes is keeping that front court clean. Game 3 and 4, getting those big men out of the game early has really cost them early on in the game. Granted, they've kept themselves in the games by getting their starters back in the game, but with limited minutes. And down the stretch, it's been costing them. In overtime yesterday, they played without Billy White and Ramel Brown. It's going to be huge if they can keep the game clean for themselves and give themselves a better chance to go back home to Halifax with a chance to win.
And keeping those guys on the court is so crucial. Billy White, both offensively and defensively, really is the heartbeat of the Halifax Hurricanes. And having him unable to play major minutes has been kind of a problem for Halifax. We talk about how London, traditionally one of the better offensive teams, but struggle whenever they're playing against Billy White to kind of hit those huge numbers we're used to seeing from them, but they've been able to do that because White's been on the bench. You also look at from on the offensive end, White and Watson both breaking 22 points in games 1 and 2, haven't scored 20 here in London yet in the finals.
So we head down to the court. Starters on the floor for the visiting Hurricanes. The usual 5, Tyrone Watson, Ramel Brown, Billy White, Antoine Mason, and Cliff Clinkscales. For the Lightning, as they win the tip-off, Julian Boyd, Mo Bolden, Garrett Williamson, Doug Herring Jr., and Kirk Williams Jr., who's been playing extended minutes in place of Royce White. Herring Jr. in control of the ball.
This Mason-Herring Jr. matchup is going to be a really important one in this game.
Mo Bolden takes a 3 over Ramel Brown, short off the rim. Clinkscales with control. It's Watson at the top of the arc. Herring Jr. gets a hand on that, knocks it away from Mason. And there's that Kirk Williams Jr. Cliff Clinkscales matchup we've seen so much of lately. Clinkscales goes in with the floater, no good. Bolden with the rebound. Bolden's gonna drive Billy White to the basket, no good. Great defensive play there by Billy White as that ball goes out off Tyrone Watson. Him and Bolden fighting for the rebound.
And that's the difference Billy White can make. And we saw Mo Bolden go off for 38 points in Game 4. A big part of that, Billy White only able to play 26 minutes. Billy White's the guy who matches up with Bolden in terms of their length, so keeping him on the floor is so much more important now.
Williamson drives to the net, and a big block by Ramel Brown, something we're very used to saying. Watson backs up Kirk Williams Jr. Brown under the net, and he finishes with the first basket of the game for either team.
And that's good for Halifax. Brown had a really slow start in Game 4, already on the board tonight.
Fans still on their feet here in the bud. Herring Jr. takes a 3, and he nails it as they take a seat. And that's the offense we've been seeing from the Lightning lately, that quick transition offense, 1 or 2 passes, move quick down the floor. Billy White fakes the 3. He kicks out to Clinkscales. Cross court to Watson. Watson's to take Boyd inside. Can't get it in underneath the rim though. Williamson outside to Williams Jr. who takes a 3. No good. Clinkscale settles it down, kicks to Mason, over to White. White will step in, throws down low to Watson, and Watson throws up the floater for an easy 2.
Nice possession there from Halifax. Bolden did a great job there keeping Billy White to the outside. But you think back to game 3, White went 3 of 5 from the three-point line, got Bolden to leave his feet.
That's going to go out off Billy White. Once again, him and Mo Bolden working on each other.
Between Herring Jr. and Mason and Bolden and White, it's clear there are certain matchups that defensively each team really wants.
That's Mason on Williamson right now, though. Boyd out in the corner. He's going to drive in on Billy White. No good. Clinkscales kicks to Watson. Watson driving, and he gets in under Williamson. 6-3 in the early goings here, just over 9 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Bolden, great ball movement here by the Lightning. Boyd trying to back Ramel Brown up. Tries to feed Kirk Williams Jr. That's going to go out off Watson. Williams Jr. to inbounds here. Williamson with the handle. 5 seconds to shoot. Williamson's got to make a decision here. He'll kick to Williams Jr. and he nails that 3-ball. And Williams Jr., not a guy you're going to see take a volume amount of threes, but lately, and especially in this series, has been making them when he's been asked to.
He's really been London's X factor. Obviously, Royce White leaving the team, guys had to step up. Williams Jr. taking one of the biggest leaps on the Lightning.
Clinkscales down low to Brown. Williams Jr. there with the help defense. Clinkscales kicks to Watson at the free throw line. He's going to take Boyd to the net, and that's going to go out off the forearm of Boyd. So the Hurricanes with possession, 6 seconds on the shot clock. Out to Clinkscales. Kicks to Mason. Mason a 3 over top of Herring Jr. No good.
I feel like Halifax kind of forgot about the shot clock a bit there.
Herring Jr. And that's going to go off a foot before the tanglement there, so it'll be Lightning ball on the inbounds. Little break to clean up the bodies on the floor there. Herring Jr. with control of the offense. Kicks across to Boyd, corner to Williamson. Williamson out to Bolden. He almost loses it. He's gonna lose it there. Great fight with Billy White. Williamson needs to take a desperation 3. No good. Didn't hit backboard. Or sorry, didn't hit rim. So that's going to be a shot clock violation. Great defense there by the Hurricanes to force a bad shot.
And that's one of the impacts that Billy White can make. And he's one of those guys, he's a great defender, not just for the way he defends his own man, but the way he provides that help. Although it did look like he came up a little lame after that collision down there. So we'll see how that plays out.
Clinkscales moving quickly, feeds Mason. Clinkscales again with the ball. Hurricanes moving quickly around in their offensive zone. Brown matched up on Boyd, big on big. He's going to try and take him to the net. Ramel Brown misses. Great matchup there between the two big men. Williamson driving, floater, no good off the glass. Williamson gets his own ball though and puts it back away.
Great hustle there and a little showdown of two former Canadians of the year, Tyrone Watson and Garrett Williamson. That time, Williamson just refusing to be denied.
Billy White down low to Mason. And a bad pass there by Billy White. Tried to go behind the back. Couldn't finish. Doug Herring Jr. no good off the glass. He's going to collect the ball though. Williams Jr. no good either. That's Ramel Brown with the rebound. That's Mason with the ball. Of course, everyone will remember Antoine Mason going off in the second half of Game 4. Getting the Hurricanes firmly back into that game. That's Clinkscales from 3. No good. That's going to end up out of bounds. Lightning ball.
Well, to give you an idea of the half Antoine Mason had, he had 12 points coming out of halftime. Ended the game with 36.
And there just seemed to be a point in that game when Antoine Mason wouldn't miss.
Oh, it was almost a guarantee. He almost single-handedly brought up the three-point shooting percentage of that team from below 10 to above 30.
And a loss there by Garrett Williamson as Clinkscales moves quickly. He leaves for Billy White with the big two-handed slam.
And here's a big difference between games 3 and 4 and tonight. London's come out flying and gotten that confidence early. This is the first time Halifax has really maintained pace in the early going of the game.
Kirk Williams Jr. floater won't go over top of Watson.
So I'm just wondering, now that London used to be able to come out and get this confidence that, yeah, we're playing well, everything's clicking. This is the first time London's really kind of been hit in the mouth to start the game.
Watson won't go over top, and that ball, and Mason collects it. He's open in the corner. No good. Ramel Brown with the easy rebound, though. And just a little bit of a ball luck there, I guess we'll say. Really, the defense wasn't ready to defend anything there. Hurricanes with the lead, 10-8, 5:40 on the clock. Herring Jr. drives tough to the rim.
Beautiful, and the way he was able to get the contact with Billy White, he was hunting the chest, as we like to say. And that time he was able to adjust for the contact and still finish the play off. It made it so White couldn't get that block.
Billy White working on Herring Jr. He feeds Watson down low, and Watson finishes the and one play as Williamson's going to pick up the first foul.
There's that weight room strength again from Tyrone Watson. And you know, interestingly enough, we saw Billy White get Doug Herring Jr. on the switch a couple of times in game 4. Weren't really able to take advantage because of Billy White's foul situation and the limited minutes he played. If they can get a full serving of that, that could make a big difference. We're going to go to our third man in the booth, Tom. What kind of things are you seeing in the early going from Halifax that's led to them having a much stronger start tonight than they did in games 3 and 4?
Well, I'm going to go off the point you were making, Chris, with regards to the front court for Halifax really showing up. It's amazing what happens when you don't have foul trouble. Billy White, interior play, a lot of great interior passing. You know, sometimes the bigs don't get enough credit when they're good passers. And in this game, the Halifax bigs have been great passers, distributors, attacking the London over-helping in the interior.
You know, Billy White, obviously, he's one of the best players in this league. And he only has 2 points in this game, but we've seen him make multiple impact plays just already only halfway through the quarter.
I mean, a guy like Mo Bolden, as great a performance as that was, you wonder if he had a guy, like I jokingly said, the Spider-Man meme. You wonder if he would have had that type of performance if Billy White had been on the court the whole time guarding him. So Halifax, clearly they got the message they got to get inside, use their size advantage because it's very prominent. Brown, Watson has a strength advantage, and then Billy White, obviously just an incredible player in the interior as well. Clearly that message has gone through, and it's really propelled them early on.
I also like that we're seeing a lot of best on best. Basically, the matchups have been set for 5 games, or this is the 5th game where we're seeing those matchups. Both teams know exactly what they're going to do, and now it's just, let's see if my guys are better than your guys.
I hope that we see a game without the foul trouble. Now, obviously, players can do something to control that, but you hope that we can see the best players playing the best guys.
Only 1 foul called so far in the game. Refs really letting them play.
All right, we kick back to the first quarter action here. Watson at the line for his and one. 12-10, the Hurricanes have jumped out to an early advantage, 5:20 on the clock. Watson sinks his free throw, so 13-10. Williamson leaves it for Williams Jr., and Herring Jr. will control the offense. Herring Jr. waiting for some movement. Boyd with the ball. 6 seconds on the shot clock. Herring Jr., he'll take the jumper off the glass, and what a finish there from Herring Jr. high off the glass.
Probably could have gotten an extra shot too. Great play by Herring Jr. finishing. He's one of the best point guards at backing down his opponent, but we haven't seen much of it in the games here in London anyway. Maybe something London's been holding off on that they can use in this game.
That's Williams Jr. now matched up on Billy White. White's going to use that length to get to the net, and he throws the floater up. Doesn't go, though. That's Boyd with the rebound. Williams Jr. is going to push the pace down the floor, leaves it for Herring Jr. Quick catch and release 3, no good. Williamson tips it back to center where Herring Jr. will control it. Williamson, jumper, no, oh my goodness.
Friendly roll.
And It was almost like he hit that space between the backboard and the rim perfectly, and it just killed the spin on the ball.
Just like he meant to do.
Billy White, unforced error, really the first of the game for the Hurricanes, and that's going to be a turnover.
I think it's really telling that as soon as Mo Bolden went to the bench, 2 straight possessions to Billy White. Halifax is going to try to feed him down low.
Herring Jr. once again directing traffic. Kyle Johnson on the floor now for the Lightning. Kicks it over to Williams Jr. Thinks 3, does 3. Williams Jr. My goodness. Didn't have as much of an impact in Game 4 as maybe the Lightning coaches would have liked, but he's come out to a great start so far in Game 5.
Well, Coach Ryan Anderson loved that one.
Tyrone Watson, no good over Boyd. Herring Jr. in there with the rebound. Herring Jr. kicks to Williamson. Williamson back out to Boyd. Down low to Kyle Johnson. He's going to try and back Clinkscales back up off the glass. And Johnson backs down. And that's Mike Leslie calling a quick timeout as this Lightning offense is heating up right now.
And just like Halifax saw Billy White as an opportunity down low, London's clearly seen posting up Cliff Clinkscales as an opportunity down low for themselves. Tom, what kind of adjustments do you make for each team? Now that you're London, you know they're trying to go to Billy White, or if you're in the case of Halifax and you know that they're trying to go at Cliff Clinkscales.
Yeah, so in the coaching trade book, some of the tools that you might have to try to solve it, and it applies in both situations, right? A size mismatch. When Billy White, when you got Kirk Williams, just the height, not exactly able to keep with Billy White, who's long, athletic. In the same way, the other way, whoever, whether it's Herring Jr. or Kyle Johnson, they have a size advantage on Clinkscale. So as a coach, if that's not working where they can stick to their man one-on-one, you start thinking about how do I double? How do I either deny the ball, maybe you start fronting the post, so, you know, forcing that overhead and then getting a help defender behind. I'm interested to see what the coaches go to, or do you just double on the catch or on the dribble? Interesting to see what these coaches go with.
You know, it's kind of interesting. We're seeing almost the conventional basketball being flipped by the London Lightning. Because it's been the guards doing all the work down low, and we've seen a lot of the big men kind of staying outside. I mean, Garrett Williamson leading the team with 4 rebounds already, 2 rebounds from Doug Herring Jr. That makes up most of their rebounding in the game. And we've also seen both Herring Jr. and Williamson down low as well.
You know, I need my 90s reference, some Mark Jackson.
There you go.
Basketball in the post.
So back to the first quarter, 3:20 on the clock. The Lightning on a 9-0 run. They've taken a 6-point lead. That's Taquan Zimmerman on the floor now for the Hurricanes. Mike Poole as well is on the floor. Watson floater, no good. Kirk Williams Jr. with the rebound, and Kirk Williams Jr. just with an ugly turnover there as Watson goes up and gets himself another and one. And really, yeah, Williams Jr. off balance, but
his teammates weren't looking for him.
They weren't, no, and really just forced him to make a pass that they weren't ready to take.
It was either, for Kirk Williams Jr., I feel for him there, because it's either a turnover or you're throwing the ball into the back of your teammate's head, which either way, not a good outcome. Tom, what'd you see there?
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, Chris.
Sorry there, Tom. Go ahead, a little bit of mic trouble.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Chris. Basically, in that case, maybe you just take it out. You don't need to throw it right back under your hoop.
So the Hurricanes get an answer out of their timeout. As Herring Jr. tries to make a move past Mike Poole. Sets his dribble, fakes jumper, kicks to Kirk Williams Jr. Williams Jr. is going to drive to the rim. No good. White with the rebound. Leaves it for Zimmerman. Zimmerman back to Billy White. That's Ramel Brown matched up against Mo Bolden. He's going to use that strength to drive Bolden back to the basket. Phenomenal move there by Ramel Brown.
I'm liking the assertiveness out of Ramel Brown. He's having a proven game, and I like it. He's trying to prove us wrong. We were pretty harsh on him last game.
Yeah, we should. As Herring Jr. just hucked Zimmerman off him. Friesen Laddie, 3-ball good. And the Lightning have got that 3-ball going early. That's Herring Jr. on Ramel Brown. As the switch goes there, that's almost just as bad. Kyle Johnson on Ramel Brown just uses that size. No chance there for Kyle Johnson.
There's no one on the floor for London who can match his strength right now, and Ramel Brown clearly having an aggressive offensive night. Keep that up.
Herring Jr. almost loses control of the ball.
It was Herring Jr. trying to get post position on a guard again.
Kirk Williams Jr. trying to back up Mike Poole, cross court to Friesen Laddie. That's going to end up being an over and back. Or a shot clock violation, whatever you want to call first, but either way, that's a Lightning turnover. Julian Boyd quickly back on the floor after Ramel Brown with a couple quick points for himself. So once again, another strength on strength matchup there. And sorry as well, I missed Ioanni D'Alembert on the court.
He's going to have to take up a lot of minutes down low to make up for the losses of Capers, Anderson, and Smith. Mike Poole with control of the ball to Ramel Brown. Poole's driving. He'll take a jumper from just outside the elbow. No good. That's D'Alembert with the rebound. Kyle Johnson, quick three, and Kyle Johnson makes himself heard early on. He was a big factor for London pulling ahead early in game 4. Obviously, when Kyle Johnson's shooting the lights out, he's had a 51-point game on his resume. He's a dangerous player for this London Lightning team if he gets going.
Interesting to see them match up Billy White with Julian Boyd and then D'Alembert with Ramel Brown. You'd think they'd almost be able to go the other way.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised they don't flip that, but I also think they kind of want to use counterpoints against each other. So using Boyd's strength against White, using D'Alembert's length against Brown, as opposed to just kind of matching mirrors.
Herring Jr., quick setup three, no good. That's Watson with the rebound. Really not much of a difference between shot clock, game clock here. In fact, it looks like the game clock will expire first. So the Hurricanes with the last shot here. Mike Poole moving around the court, leaves it for Brown. Brown's gonna drive in, leaves it for Poole. Poole with a shot from the key, no good. And Friesen Laddie will just hold on to the ball to end the quarter. And as we've said the last 3 games, the Lightning leave the first quarter on top of the Halifax Hurricanes, 25-22. Very clean first quarter, very quick moving first quarter. Really, I think only a couple fouls for the Lightning. The Hurricanes kept themselves clean.
Only 2 fouls for the London Lightning in that one. Refs clearly letting them play. Tom, when you've got a game where the refs are kind of just letting you sit back, what kind of decisions does that, if you were a coach, kind of lead you to make?
Well, you're probably a little less afraid to have your front notoriously foul-heavy front court in the game, and we're seeing it early from Halifax. London, I really like, D'Alembert hasn't really had any minutes, and I actually like that matchup because Halifax went on a little run there, throwing it into Brown, getting White some looks, and D'Alembert immediately coming in, getting a keyboard that fueled the transition for the three from Kyle Johnson. So I like that. I like that Vassal trusting his guys to be ready. And when you hear pros talk about a lot that you have to be ready to get called on at any time. You have to always be prepared. And you got to like with D'Alembert that he came in prepared, key rebound, box out, help fuel transition. If you're Halifax, you have to like that, as you mentioned, you took a little, you didn't get punched in the nose immediately like this game. They were on their way defensively, but London finding some mismatches of their own. Doug Herring on cling scales. You're going to have to figure out how to hide him. And really, it's been a very even, it might not be exactly tied right now, but it's been a very even first quarter.
I love the response from London because, again, in games 3 and 4, they came out to this 10-point lead flying start. And, that kind of gave them the confidence to maintain their own pace, set their own things up, and make Halifax play catch-up. This is the first game where, in the ones that have been here in London, where London's had to kind of make up for that, where they've had a team keep up with them, but still had to pull ahead. And London's been able to continue to assert their pace on this game, despite the fact that Halifax was right there with them. One of the other things I want to make note of, Halifax going to want to get some three-pointers going. There's a huge contrast between London at 5 of 11 shooting from three-point land and 0 for 3 from the Halifax Hurricanes. Really, if you add in the 2 free throws that Halifax made, that's literally your difference right there, is the 5 extra points you got from the threes, because both teams shooting 10 of 23 from the field in that whole quarter.
You want to establish yourself inside, and that's great, but you're right. Eventually, you're going to want, as London collapses, to start kicking it out to your shooters.
Especially in a game where they're not calling as many fouls, and your bigs aren't going to be able to get that extra point opportunity. You want to be able to make them from outside.
So Hurricanes begin the second quarter with possession here in Budweiser Gardens. Brendan Jameson along with Chris and Tom Croucher. 25-22, the Lightning with the advantage. Billy White making a move off Boyd. Floater won't go. That's Kyle Johnson with the rebound. Williamson across half court. Over to Boyd. Boyd floats to Johnson. That's going to be Reefer with the hold, though. He's on the floor to start the second quarter for the Hurricanes, along with Ronaldo Dixon. Williamson around the screen of Dallenberg. He drives to the net. That's a partial block. Dallenberg with the rebound, though, kicks to Friesen Laddie. Has to watch his feet, but he gets control of it. 4 seconds, Friesen Laddie. Friesen Laddie with a big 3-ball. Big do-it-yourself effort there by Joel Friesen Laddie. Zimmerman driving, he'll kick out to Dixon. Dixon over to Reefer, down low to Billy White. Up top to Zimmerman. My goodness, the ball movement right now. Mike Poole runs over Williamson. Friesen Laddie with the turnover, though. And that's going to be a hold on Zimmerman, trying to keep Friesen Laddie away from an easy 2. Really, I mean,
I'm curious. They put the arms up. This might be unsporting.
It is. It is an unsporting, so Friesen Laddie's going to take free throws here. And in a situation like that where the Hurricanes were moving the ball around really well, maybe just one too many passes there, Tom.
Yeah, no, I think they were trying a little too much on offense there, simplify it. You know, another point I'm looking at in the stat sheet right now is we talked about how London maybe they've got some injury problems. Their depth might not be there. Our bench points right now heavily in favor of London. Something we saw during the season, but not as much in the playoffs. So interesting development.
So Friesen Laddie gets both free throws, and the Lightning will maintain possession. So they've broken this into an 8-point lead in the early goings of the second. Williamson trying to get past Reefer. Reefer tough on him. Reefer right in Williamson's pocket as he drives and he finishes. What an individual effort by Garrett Williamson.
Got mugged on his way to the rim.
Reefer was just all over him, and then Ronaldo Dixon with the help defense, but if you could even call it that, because Williamson finished and he gets the foul.
Well, I mean, the ref calling one of 4 fouls that could have been called on that play as Williamson got whacked from all angles, but again, so good at adjusting for contact. I don't think there's anyone better at finishing around the rim when there's contact than Garrett Williamson.
Antoine Mason is checked into the game, so the Hurricanes go with a smaller lineup here, really one of the smallest we've seen in any of the 3 games so far in London. Mason drives, big block by Dallenberg, though, but Boyd can't get out of the rebound as Billy White throws the two-handed slam down. Williamson making moves. Tries to feed Dallenberg down low.
That's a foul right there.
Dallenberg's going to pick up the push on Mike Poole.
You can't do that.
So the Hurricanes have gone small, but it means they've got some quickness and speed on the court, and the shooters as well. Mike Poole, Zimmerman, and Mason, very adept shooters, and you can never sleep on Billy White as well.
And Dixon and White, even though they're bigger guys, both capable of shooting the outside shot. In fact, Dixon's wide open.
Dixon, he'll take that 3. No good, short of the rim. That's Billy White with the rebound, though. Mason resets. Moves around the screen at Dixon, but Friesen Laddie, the defender he is, and that's going to be a foul as Mason's going to go to the line here.
One thing that's got to be scary is Antoine Mason, not that he didn't look engaged in the last game, but there was kind of a lack of suddenness to his game that in the early goings of Game 4. Then he turned it on in that second half better than I think that might be one of the best halves we've seen in NBL Canada. The fact that Mason, I know he hasn't piled up the points yet in this game, but he's looked that engaged. He's had that suddenness, that decision making where there's no pause when the ball hits his hand. He's just going with it. The fact that he's already demonstrating that is great.
Mason gets his first free throw. Ramel Brown is checked back into the game in place of Billy White. And unfortunately, Mason misses the second one. Friesen Laddie makes a move around D'Alembert. He'll take the jumper and he'll finish that. And the presence of Yoani D'Alembert on the court, I feel like has really energized this Lightning team. The big is kind of the first guy down and the first man back up. And that's Mason with the open three, and he's not going to miss many of those. Williamson over to Boyd. Boyd with the three over Dixon, and Boyd with the big three ball.
Boyd shot 40% from three-point land over the season. He doesn't take a lot of them, but you cannot give him that kind of time and space to basically face up and take that shot.
And that's going to be an offensive foul. Dixon moving his feet, trying to set the screen there for Mason.
And that's one of the things Joel Friesen Laddie does better than anyone. He's annoying to play against. So there's a lot of offensive fouls that get called when he's defending you, and that's just an example of that. They don't really track that stat in NBL Canada, but I imagine if we looked at probably even the career numbers for most offensive fouls drawn, I'd think Joel Friesen Laddie's at the top of that list.
And Friesen Laddie has made his presence felt in this series. Didn't get a lot of minutes early on in the playoffs, coming back from injury, getting himself set into the lineup, but injuries and opportunity have afforded him in the lineup, and Julian Boyd misses that another three. That's Mason screaming down the court, and he's going to pick up the charge call on Mason. Mason not a big fan of it. And we'll say it before, and we've said it, and we'll say it again, it's one of the hardest calls in sports to make.
Absolutely. I think Mason's arguing that he did enough to avoid the contact. But again, Garrett Williamson, another guy who's really heads up on defense, able to draw that charge. That's 2 straight possessions that end in an offensive foul for the Hurricanes. Can't have that.
The one bonus in that situation is that it really seems so far that you've got your guards and your forwards piling up the fouls for the Hurricanes.
But problematic, though, they're at 5 already in the corner.
Yes, they have picked it up a little bit more in this quarter. After 0 there, D'Alembert under the net, and that's Mike Poole over his back. So D'Alembert is going to go to the line here, and that's already 6 fouls for the Hurricanes, so they're dangerously close to already putting the Lightning over the limit. Tom, what you got for us?
Just going to say, guys, danger zone. Danger zone right now, 10 points. London have some momentum here after some drawing some offensive fouls. Interesting to see these next 2 or 3 minutes what comes from this.
D'Alembert goes 1 for 2 from the line. The lead is stretched to 11. We've seen the Hurricane delete a couple double-digit leads in both games, and 3 and 4. But this could be a big turning point for both teams as Zimmerman takes the quick catch and release 3. No good. D'Alembert with the rebound. Kicks to Williamson. Williamson over to Friesen Laddie. He takes a 3 ball, and Friesen Laddie is on fire from the arc right now. Zimmerman. He's going to set up a chance here, kicks to Brown, almost loses it though. That's Mason as he drives, no good. Williamson with the rebound. He's pushing the pace right now, drives all the way to the rim, and Williamson finishes.
Yeah, timeout here from Halifax. I think it's the right call. Or they're not giving it to him. He tried. There we go.
So Mike Leslie with the timeout here. The Lightning on another big run. The lead is 16. The crowd is electric here in the Bud.
Tom London coming out to a huge run there. Absolutely just kind of ditched the Hurricanes for a while there. Hurricanes only 6 points so far in the quarter. How's London done it?
Play from guys like D'Alembert. D'Alembert crashing the boards. And you know what? It wasn't even just some of the rebounds or the fact he got to the line. That Friesen Laddie 3 was from an amazing pick set by D'Alembert. That's what you want your bigs to do. You don't have to be the most skilled big, but sometimes you need those guys to just set a pick, get a guy open. It was funny because he actually set the pick and called for Friesen Laddie to get the ball for that 3 because he knew he set a darn good pick.
You know things are rolling when you're calling who the next guy should pass.
Yeah, and the other thing too is you can see the bench for London engaged too, and you know they've got to love what they're seeing for Dallenberg. So just an unsung guy coming in, doing his job the way you'd ask him to, and doing it really well. And really has kind of slowed down some of the interior play by Halifax. Halifax had a huge margin early on, 20-6 in points in the paint, and that is now really been neutralized to a degree from some of the interior play by the London Lightning.
I think obviously Yohanni Dallenberg has been here since day one in London. He's been here since the black and yellow game all the way at the start of the year. Been through the training camp. London didn't have a ton of turnover in the year, but Dallenberg is one of those day one guys. And for a team where you've been with him the whole year, you've seen him he hasn't played a ton of minutes all year long. For a team just to get that energy from seeing your guy come out here and play as well as Dallenberg has, that's such a morale boost for the rest of the roster too.
Absolutely.
And you could tell just by the bench reactions of the Lightning how into the game, even just as guys sitting on the bench waiting to get in, how into the game they got watching Dallenberg out there.
Critical few moments here. If Halifax can if you're Coach Leslie, put together a few quick stops, London, try and really drive this home going into the half.
We talk about teams having to come up with something out of the timeout to make sure they change that momentum. This might be the most important timeout that Halifax has had all finals.
So a couple substitutions on both ends right now. And we've got a foul on... That's a foul on the Hurricanes.
Not what you want.
That's an unsporting, so free throws.
Shots and possession for London.
My goodness.
That's not what you want out of a timeout under any circumstance.
Probably about number one on the list of things you don't want to happen coming out of a turnover, or coming out of a timeout, sorry.
Friesen Laddie, been a hot shooter. He gets to go take some shots from the line.
Unfortunately,
I jinxed
falls short of the rim.
I'm so sorry, Joel.
So Friesen gets his second, though, as they'll hold on to possession of the basketball here. And another big thing worth noting is that foul just put the Lightning over the limit, and 7.5 minutes remaining in this second quarter. The Hurricanes are going to have to go back to that first quarter basketball, keep themselves as clean as possible here. Williamson loses possession, but he holds it, kicks it to Bolden. Williamson, shooter over top of Ramel Brown, no good. Clinkscales feeds Billy White. White down low to Brown. That's Williamson picking up the foul on the hold. We have seen Williamson match up pretty well against Ramel Brown early on in the series.
Williamson has such strong ability to adjust to contact that even if it's not in the air, even when it's just Brown bumping up against him in the post, he's able to hold up and deal with that physicality.
Watson kicks to Mason out to Clinkscales. Watson down low to Brown, wide open. Some great passing there. Gets the big open underneath the basket.
Again, we talked about a bit of a slow start last game for Brown. He's got 10 points already in this game. He's been a big difference maker in that front court. Leading scorers are the guys Halifax want to be, Watson, Brown, and White.
Boyd leaves it for Friesen Laddie. Boyd fakes the screen, sets back up. Boyd from three.
Again, 40% in the season. You can't leave him that open.
And in general, we are just seeing some prolific shooting out of the Lightning, and maybe not this series, but these home games so far, as Mason takes the jumper from the arc. He nails that.
Speaking of the shooting of London, 56% from three-point land right now. Blistering hot.
Williamson slowing it down. Throws to Bolden. Bolden loses it, though. Kicks it out to Friesen Laddie. Friesen Laddie driving in. Easy lay-in there from Friesen Laddie, blowing past Antoine Mason.
And that Bolden pass was intentionally off because it gave Friesen Laddie the runway to turn that corner on Mason, too.
Get your guy open with the pass, right? Watson
Exactly.
going hard in on Boyd, and he'll get it in off the glass, using that strength. Really just kind of bounced off of Boyd there, but kept his balance and threw it in.
And really, based on the shots taken, should only be an 8-point differential in this game. Pardon me, make that a 6-point differential. But because London's been able to hit from beyond the arc and Halifax simply hasn't, You're seeing the gap.
Mason screaming down court.
It's just threes and frees right now for London. They're making their free throws. They're making their threes. Halifax 1 of 6 from the three-point line. Only 3 foul shots. London 71%, 5 of 7 from the free throw line, but then 9 of 16 from three-point land.
Williams Jr. is checked back into the game for the Lightning. That's Mason with the ball. Thinks deep three, but holds on to it. Clinkscales over to Billy White. Billy White driving to the basket, and he gets Bolden off him and finishes at the rim. Herring Jr. quickly down court to Williams Jr. Leaves it for Boyd. Boyd throws to Friesen Laddie. That's the long Billy White on Friesen Laddie.
Almost a great move by Williams Jr.
Boyd going in tough, can't finish, gets his rebound though, and he'll stay hard at the rim, and Julian Boyd, he says, don't forget about me down low. I can get it done there too. Clinkscales kicks to Brown underneath the net, trying to make a move around Boyd, can't finish, but Brown's gonna go to the free throw line here. And Williams Jr. took the elbow of Ramel Brown to the ear, and that one smarts.
He's gonna leave the ears ringing a bit.
Yeah. Never a good feeling when you get that ear smashed. It gets all red and hot. That bothers you. That bothers you.
Crowd going in on Ramel Brown a bit here.
Ramel
Had a couple air balls last game.
And he misses his first one, so the crowd's going to keep letting him have it.
Seems a fan down there in a maroon shirt has maybe had a pint too many.
And Ramel Brown misses both as Bolden grabs the rebound. Herring Jr. across half court. Kicks to Friesen Laddie. Friesen Laddie driving. Jumper no good as he ends up on his backside. Clinkscales quickly over to Mason. Oh, uncontested three, and he nails it as Mason gives Friesen Laddie the stare down after the made three.
Those two have been battling all quarter long. Mason, a guy, you know what? I don't know if you want to get him that engaged. I almost want to keep him calm because Mason a vengeful shooter sometimes.
Herring Jr. driving, kicks to Bolden. Bolden for three, and Bolden nails it.
London's clicking. This is a team that's figured it out.
Down under 4 minutes remaining, 55-39. The Lightning with the 16-point advantage. Mason thinks three. He's going to drive Friesen Laddie back towards the net. Can't get the jumper to go, but he'll shoot free throws.
Friesen Laddie, fouls might be a concern for him too. He did have 5 last game in limited minutes. Only 1 tonight, as Friesen Laddie getting a nice round of applause from the fans. Tom, what'd you see?
Yeah, you gotta like with Friesen Laddie really getting into the airspace of Mason, really getting underneath him so he doesn't have that comfort level to really rise up. Incredible job. Obviously, his teammates giving in the crowd giving a round of applause.
And it's one of those things that disrupts a shooter when you've got that guy getting in your face. He hasn't let Mason take a single comfortable shot.
Exactly, and he brings it on the offensive end, so he doesn't allow you to rest on defense.
Friesen Laddie, 16 points off the bench for London, easily their leading scorer.
So Mason makes both his free throws, does his job at the line as Herring Jr. crosses half court for the Lightning. Bolden setting up screen. As he gets left alone, Williams Jr. was alone in the corner there. Bolden missed him, but and a big block by Billy White. Great help defense there by White, and Mason all alone, and he nails that three ball.
Yeah, I like this timeout here. Halifax clearly getting some rhythm going, clearly starting to feel it a bit. Put him on the bench, make him sit and cool down a bit. Tom, Mason, obviously getting off to that hot start. How do you curtail that if you're London?
Well, you can't allow him to get open in transition. If you look at those 2 buckets he made from 3, they were off a rush. Billy White with the amazing block, fueling it on that most recent one. You got to find your shooters in transition. And if there's a shooter on Halifax, it's Mason. So you got to get on him immediately.
Realistically, when he's on the floor with that lineup that they had, he's the shooter on the floor.
for him.
Yeah, because really, the only things that have been going for Halifax offensively right now is some of the interior setups by big to big, and Mason maybe creating some offense on his own, or a transition play like that. And then we all saw last game what can happen if a guy like Mason, we saw a few swagger steps on the way back after making that three. We all know the confidence he can have in his abilities to score.
And one guy we obviously were giving a lot of praise to, and deservedly so, Joel Friesen-Laddie, one of the other things he did well defensively, not just getting into the grill of Antoine Mason, but you mentioned it, Mason getting open in transition. Friesen-Laddie gave him no breathing space.
Finding him in transition.
It didn't matter if it was transition, set offense, whatever. He didn't give Mason any of that breathing room, and as soon as Friesen-Laddie off, boom, transition three.
And really, it's amazing how good your defense can be when you get to set up because you scored a bucket.
So back to the second quarter here, 3:20 remaining in the first half of the game. The London Lightning hold the advantage still, 11-point lead over the Halifax Hurricanes. Foul situation is evened out a little bit, the Lightning with 5. The Hurricanes are over the limit. Herring Jr. down low to Bolden, and Ramel Brown's going to pick up the foul. And that's going to send Bolden to the line.
Refs have a better angle on it sometimes than we have up here.
That's one, though, if you're Ramel Brown, you've struggled with foul trouble in this series. You can't be taking fouls out in the perimeter like that. I like the effort, but that you can't be doing them in that situation.
In Brown's defense, he has been actually one of the guys keeping it clean among those front court
Exactly,
guys.
I agree. But just when you know that's been an issue, that's a tough foul to take.
0 for 2, though, for Mo Bolden.
Uncharacteristic.
Especially after Mo Bolden spent most of the game at the free throw line in Game 4. I believe something like 12 of 13 shooting.
Bingo.
Billy White's going to back Bolden up, kicks out to Clinkscales. Clinkscales nails the three.
And I like how Billy White didn't take what Bolden was giving him. London has gotten White into trouble by forcing him baseline. That time White didn't take the bait and able to make the smart pass to Klink.
Mo Bolden with control. He's just going to set his dribble. Ramel Brown just acting like a wall right now for him. Just wasn't much space for anybody on the Lightning there to make a move, but the ball goes out off a Hurricane hand. 8 seconds on the clock to shoot. Kyle Johnson kicks it to Julian Boyd, leaves it for Herring Jr. 5 seconds to shoot. Herring Jr. needs to make a decision. Jumper goes, though. Billy White in control. Leaves it for Mike Poole. Kyle Johnson all over him. That's Antoine Mason over to Clinkscales. Along Kirk Williams Jr. on him as Ramel Brown sets a screen. Billy White under the basket. Mo Bolden with the block. And that's going to be a... let's see what the refs discuss here. Was it shot clock or was it foul first? Billy White's already got himself at the line, and no, he doesn't like the ref's call. They're going to call the shot clock violation.
Again, I love it when refs do come together like that, though, and talk about it and make sure that they're all getting the right call there.
Herring Jr. across half court. Leaves it for Bolden. Bolden, a little bit of a long pass to Julian Boyd. Williams Jr. open in the corner. No good. Mason with the rebound.
One of the things that Halifax has shut down is that inlet pass, but London's adjusted by hitting the corner three-man.
Mike Poole leaves it for Mason. Mason from three. No good. Kyle Johnson, long rebound, goes his way. Big throw up for Boyd. Back to Johnson. Huge block by Ramel Brown. Into the seats. And very well defended transition play there from the Hurricanes.
Ramel Brown, probably the most entertaining shot blocker in NBL Canada. He just keeps sending balls into the Bud Garden stands.
We're seeing the whole repertoire from Brown today. This has been a great game for him. Offensive force, defensive force, using his size.
It's a prove-him game. It's a prove-him game. He's doing it. He's proven.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm happy you said it. I'm happy you said it. No, this has been great. I like what you're talking about. London is really trying to attack the middle of the Halifax defense, force that help inside, and a few kick opportunities. London just hasn't maybe made the shot yet, but it's a good adjustment.
It's almost like they're playing against a zone, even though they aren't.
Yeah.
But they're looking to go down the middle, and then because Halifax adjusted and stopped that play, basically every inlet pass has been going so deep that London hasn't been able to make a play at the rim. But the pass out to the corner three has been so quick from London, it hasn't mattered. So the inlet pass is going nowhere. But because their players are making good decisions and making decisions quickly, it's still ending up in good-looking shots for London.
Yeah. So we got 122 here, Chris. I think this is going to be important. How do you close the half? If you're London, do you put your stamp on this game and go into halftime with some authority? If you're Halifax, you put together a few stops, get a little run going, get yourself in striking distance in the third.
We talk a lot about where you want to be heading into certain points of the game, and obviously halftime. Both these teams know what the score is right now going into the timeout, and their confidence going into the half is going to come out of what happens in these next couple of seconds, really.
So the Lightning with possession of the ball here. 57-47. The Lightning have kept that double-digit lead up. The long Mo Bolden's going to inbound the pass here. He kicks it to Herring Jr. Herring Jr. over to Kyle Johnson. Mo Bolden wide open in the corner. Lots of time to line up his shot, but no good. But there's big Julian Boyd underneath the basket. Loses control of the ball, though. And Kyle Johnson's going to pick up the foul there on Clinkscales. And the refs really seem to be letting them play underneath the basket so far there. Julian Boyd in tough against Ramel Brown and Billy White. And no whistles, just letting them go.
And I think the refs kind of recognized that last game. The whistles in the second half kind of slowed the momentum to a crawl. So I kind of like that the refs are just letting them play.
And Kyle Johnson deflects that pass from Clinkscales, but Billy White collects it. Leaves it for Mason. Mason pushing back. No good, though. Ball bounced around. That's Williams Jr. moving quickly. Kicks to Herring Jr. Herring Jr. outside to Kyle Johnson. Kyle Johnson, a big made three.
You've got to reward a pass like that with a shot like that. Great play from Herring Jr. and Kyle Johnson.
That's Billy White with the ball. The Hurricanes looking for an answer basket. Billy White's going to go in tough. Ends up on his backside as he gets fouled.
They're going to give an unsporting foul. I believe it's on Bolden. Just kind of took him down. Didn't really make a play on the ball. It's a third unsporting foul in this game.
In a situation where you've had three so far in just a first half of a game, do you think that's the ref's way of trying to maybe get a little control on the players after maybe they think the foul situation got a little out of control in the previous game?
100%. Obviously, the physicality in the last game was very high. They're still talking Billy White. So I think for these referees, they just kind of want to calm things down early. Obviously, there was that great display of sportsmanship where they came into the huddle, but the reason that was so surprising was because they've been playing so physically all game long.
Billy White misses his first as the crowd roars. White goes 1 for 2, though, and the Hurricanes will hold on to possession, so could be a big basket for them here. 4-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock.
Again, London happy if they keep it over 10. Halifax is really trying to get under 10 just to get that kind of morale boost going into the locker room, regardless of which side you're on.
So that's Ramel Brown with the ball. He leaves it for Mason. Mason to White. White's going to drive again. Kicks out. That's Poole almost losing the ball. Mantuan Mason wide open. No good. That's Kirk Williams Jr. snagging the rebound. Plenty of time for an offensive possession here for the Lightning. 5 seconds on the clock. Herring Jr. to the corner. Kicks way out to Williams Jr. Mike Poole's going to throw up a deep ball. No. It was on track, but just to the left of the rim. What an ending to the quarter, though. The Lightning with a 12-point lead going into the end of the half, 60-48. The Halifax Hurricanes have some work to do coming out of the break.
Yeah, leading scorers there. Joel Friesen-Laddie, 16 points for the London Lightning. Antoine Mason, 14 points. Tyrone Watson, 12. Ramel Brown, 10. We're going to go down to the court there. We've got our Knockstrom halftime show featuring Aaron Sanders and Justin Prince. Guys, take it away.
All right, guys, thank you. It's 60-48 at the half. We welcome you down here for the Knockstrom halftime. Aaron and Justin with you. JP, I think if there was some sort of alliteration to describe how the first quarter was, we had a little bit of everything, but it did start sloppy, but everything toughened up, especially for the London Lightning. They're just shooting the lights out of this building.
Yeah, they are, especially here in the after the second quarter. That's when it really started to really intensify, in my opinion. Led by Friesenlani, Joel Friesenlani with 16 points, plus you have multiple players with 9 points, 8 points, 7 points. That's what you want to see, I think, in terms of scoring when you have a short-handed roster like this. You need the big-time players to step up. Friesenlani is the one doing that, on fire and able to help inside and outside for buckets tonight.
You got somebody that's working the outside, but how about the inside? Because we're seeing Julian Boyd, every game he plays, he gets tougher and tougher and tougher. So once again, with a 9-man roster, you really need to step up in terms of minutes. And so far, he's been doing it right down low.
He has, for sure, grabbing a lot of rebounds in this one. Again, being a part of that group that's scoring very proficiently just outside the double-digit club. That's what, again, they need to see. He's been very good these past 3 games, especially inside the paint on the backdoor cuts. He's been in that same situation, able to hunt down the rebounds again and try and keep second chance opportunities as much as they come by. So somebody that's really big time helping Julian Boyd. Need to keep him battling on, especially with 3 Hurricanes in double digits, Aaron.
Yes, I was about to bring that up. You can't knock on the Halifax Hurricanes because you know their big 3 is going to come ready. Billy White keeps on becoming more efficient than ever. And then in addition to that, we're seeing Antoine Mason taking care of business, not only from the outside, but from the inside too.
Yeah, drawing some good whistles and drawing himself to the free throw line as well as some of his teammates in this one. Halifax getting themselves to the line a lot more than game number 4. That's for sure. Mason helping for sure, of course. Lots of good triples, lots of good momentum being brought by him by trying to draw the contact, try to get London into foul trouble, especially with the foul situation that happened in the first couple quarters here. They just got to make sure they keep up the intensity, because whoever keeps the intensity here in game number 5 at this point may be the one that comes out on top of this one. London's been the one doing that, although Halifax has been giving them a bit of trouble and a bit of fits in parts of the second quarter.
Well, indeed, too. And another word of it, too, is what we have seen so far in the finals. We're seeing a lot of jawing off, a lot of chewing off the other ear, if you will. But hopefully both of these clubs know that there's 24 more minutes of action to go. So you can't let one call get to your head, because in the world of sports, and especially in the world of basketball, you got to have a very short memory. You got to play on to the next one. So hopefully they get that message really clear.
And you don't want to end up getting a technical either in that kind of situation, because, again, gives your team, the other team a chance to shoot a free throw, keep the possession, and really disrupt things for how your team is running at that point. You don't want to end up getting a technical, arguing a call, or unsporting fouls. There's been a couple of unsporting fouls in this one tonight. So got to make sure you limit the fouls again and again. Free throw line, as well as making sure you don't lose your tempers. Basically, I think the best words were described by Chris Croucher early on before the game started today. In these kind of situations, you have to hold your tongue in these huge situations where one foul or one technical can throw the balance of the game to the other team.
Well, if you're both Keith Vassell and Mike Leslie, what are you saying to your club in addition to that as you play the final 24 minutes here at Budweiser Gardens this year?
I think at this point, for the final 24 minutes, Keith Vassell's main focus, I think, right now, keep up the intensity. Both teams have been really picking up the tempo and the pace compared to the first couple of games for games 3 and 4 here at Budweiser Gardens. Expect more of that, maybe some more attempts to try and go sort of NASCAR-style offense, try and break for more fast break points off the rebounds and go from there, try and spread this lead to maybe 16, 17 points in the first couple minutes if they can. As well, expect more box out attempts and maybe see themselves, since the paint is starting to become more efficient compared to game 4 for Halifax, switch to that 3-2 zone, which really was a bit of a struggle for much of the first couple games inside the paint for the Hurricanes. See that the Hurricanes, they got to make sure they keep things going in the paint. Again, whoever controls the paint will end up controlling this series. Right now, they need to get things continuing to get going, feed the hot hand as well. Mason, I think, might be someone, along with Cliff Scales, that you can feed the ball through, have them run your offense, have them score buckets, and as well, set up your teammates for quality shots. As well, be prepared, because this is going to be a track meet again on both ends of the floor. This is going to be an interesting final 24 minutes.
Well, regardless of the Hurricanes losing games 3 and 4, they always start the beginning of the game on fire and hot, especially when it comes to tightening down low, because that's been their game all of a sudden. So despite those 2 losses, you can see them get strong, and you can see them develop a whole lot more, especially when it comes out their quarter, because once again, they're one of the best in the league when it comes to starting off real hot in the second half too.
That is the main key. They're down by 12. They need to have that red hot start once again. Get the fast start you need to. Get yourself back to single digits. Try and get to a run. Force Keith Fassel to call an early timeout. We should expect that to be going from the get-go. Maybe something big to give them a spark. Maybe going down low to Billy White and trying to go in the low post in that situation. Then the back door. There's a few opportunities and a few decent play opportunities, I think, for the Hurricanes to, again, have that quick start you just mentioned that they are definitely known for.
And we're going to see what happens right here in the final 24 minutes here. Game 5, the Halifax Hurricanes wants to regain home court here with a 3-2 lead. Same with the London Lightning, because so far they've been revving it up like gangbusters since this 3-game homestand started. But the question is, who will go home with a 3-2 lead at Scotiabank Center for Thursday night for Game 6. We're going to have to find out in the second half, as we'll have Brendan, Tom, and Chris on the call for you when we return here from Budweiser Gardens in just a few moments. You're watching the NBL Canada Finals on Knockstrom TV.
right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Knoxstrom TV Gamecast, Game 5 of the NBL Finals. London Lightning holding a 12-point advantage over the visiting Halifax Hurricanes here in Budweiser Gardens. Chris, a big reason why the London Lightning have jumped out to the lead they have, bench points early on.
Yeah, the bench coming up huge for London, especially considering they're undermanned. I mean, they're essentially running 8 of their 9 players. They don't really have many reinforcements, but they're making it work. Guys like Freeze and Laddie off the bench, 16 points. That's a huge factor in those bench points, obviously, and he's been fantastic for the Lightning, both offensively and defensively, and that paid huge dividends for London in that first quarter, but you can't even sleep on guys like Kyle Johnson with his 8 points off the bench as well. So London getting the performance that they needed out of the guys who needed to step up due to the fact that you're losing minutes from Capers. They already lost minutes from Ryan Anderson and Ashton Smith, and they're getting those quality minutes out of Friesen, Laddie, and Johnson.
Back to the second half, Brendan Jameson along with Chris Croucher and Tom Croucher at the breaks as Julian Boyd takes a big 3 to start the half. And Julian Boyd hasn't cooled off after that halftime break. That's Clinkscales over to Mason. Tyrone Watson back on the floor. Billy White, long on long against Mo Bolden. He drives to the rim, tries to get underneath, but loses control, and that's going to be a shot clock violation. And some great defense there as well by the Lightning coming out.
That might have been the best 2 sequences London could have come out of the half with. Just amazing offensively, that quick 3 from Boyd, getting them energized, and then that energy transitioned with them on defense into that 24-second violation.
Boyd and Williamson playing some hot potato with the ball. Herring Jr. quick catch and release 3, and Herring Jr. and the Lightning are shooting the lights out of Budweiser Gardens this evening. Clinkscales in the corner to Mason. You got to think they're going to want to look for him for an answer. Bolden with the turnover, though, and the Lightning have just come out in this half firing. Boyd leaves it for Williamson, and he'll reset to Herring Jr. as they'll slow things down. He'll move some bodies. Boyd sets up the screen for him. Williamson to Boyd down Main Street, and Boyd gets the, oh my goodness.
Almost
Tom,
a nightmare start for Halifax.
Tom, tell us what we're seeing.
Halifax's night, Coach Leslie's nightmare of a start. You got to like the aggressiveness London has come out on both ends. Bolden, White had great position there. Bolden doing a great job getting around, making a great aggressive play without fouling. And, we talked about how do you go into the half. It's also about how do you start the second half and London taking advantage.
Well, I mean, 2 turnovers and 8 points against, and we're not even 2 minutes into the quarter.
So the Lightning have pushed the lead to 20. Billy White again with the ball. Bolden's going to pick up the foul this time around the back. Fouls on the floor. The Hurricanes will inbound.
I honestly think if that hadn't been a foul on Julian Boyd, that it was going to be a timeout from Halifax just to try and slow things down.
Clinkscales inbounds and then switches to the 3.
Who else? Who else would come up with that answer when your team's struggling?
And we've mentioned it before. Teams tend to forget about the inbouncer. He's throwing the pass away. He gets away clean. That was about as good a look you're going to get.
Halifax loves taking advantage of that too.
Williamson holding his dribble, kicks to Bolden. Bolden thinks 3, but he's going to drive, steps back out. He's on the line, no good. Billy White with the rebound. That's Clinkscales driving, pushing to Watson. Watson goes in, nice little over the head there.
Good
Finish
response
from Tyrone Watson.
Good response by the veterans on Halifax there. Watson and Clinkscales bringing the tempo back down, getting things going for their team offensively.
Williamson, top of the arc. Throws to Boyd. Help defense is there, though. That's going to go out off of Watson's shoulder.
Boyd got pantsed a bit there.
And the crowd, they're getting their chuckles in, too.
A little bit of a veteran YMCA move maybe got pulled on him there.
Boyd down into the net. Can't get it to go, though. Brown bounces that ball to White. Clinkscales down low to Brown. He's going to back Williams Jr. up towards the rim. Ramel Brown high off the glass. Billy White there with the rebound. Can't finish. That's going to go out off of Boyd.
Julian Boyd has to have bruises everywhere after these past 3 games. He's been hitting the deck just about any time the ball gets loose.
And once again, though, I mean, you're stuck 15, but you're not going to get 15 points in one possession. These Hurricanes are slowing it down, getting it down low to their bigs, and earning every single point that they can. Billy White, he's going to bounce Bolden back. Little spin off him. Great move by Billy White.
And that's one of the things Billy White's best at. His footwork in the post constantly gets himself open with those moves.
Williamson around the screen of Boyd. Williamson driving the lane. Billy White really just took it out of Williamson's hands, but he's going to foul him on the way.
You're okay with that foul, though. Make him earn it from the line. You maybe don't want that on Billy White, but got to make him earn it from the line. No easy buckets.
And you know what? That was actually a worthwhile risk because that easily
Almost a steal.
that could have easily been jump ball, and with the possession arrow, that could have easily been going the other way. Those are the types of plays, you know, we talk about smart fouls. You know, that was a smart foul, especially in this. He hasn't been fighting the foul trouble like he had in previous games, so you can, you know, maybe make that attempt.
Williamson misses his first
And
free throw.
I also want to get into the fact that, you know, we've seen that Coach Leslie really lets his team play through this. He's not taking a panic timeout. Definitely knows his team. It's an interesting understanding of his team and decision making that he's going through.
Clinkscales holding the ball, kicks it to White. White over to Mason. Mason around the screen. He's going to drive. Bolden with a big block, though, and that's going to be a travel call. What a play by Bolden on the help defense. Jumps off his man and gets the huge block on Mason.
You know, London just buzzing right now. Whole team's got an energy about them that's just been working so well, and Halifax really up against it to try and close this gap here.
Mason still talking with the ref, says he thought he lost possession between the block and regaining the ball. Williamson easy to the rim, big one-handed finish by Williamson. Ramel Brown not there in time. Clinkscales looking for an answer. Billy White kicks low to Brown, and Brown's going to get fouled by Julian Boyd there.
You know what? The struggles Brown's had from the free throw line, every time. Send him to the line as many times as you can.
It's really almost a hack-a-shack situation.
I was
down
just
there.
about to jump in with a hack of Brown. Hack of Brown.
Chance of air ball coming through Bud Gardens again.
Listen to this place.
And Brown nails it, and the small Hurricane crowd in attendance. They are behind their men 100%. Brown, though, 1 for 2. Williamson loses the dribble, though. A sloppy pay there by Garrett Williamson. Kind of just lost track of Cliff Clinkscales. Billy White out to Clinkscales, down low to White. White underneath the rim, can't finish, gets his own rebound. Williams Jr. corrals the ball. Williamson leaves it for Williams Jr. from 3, no good. Watson with the rebound. Clinkscales to Brown. Down low to Billy White. White's going to try and back Boyd up towards the rim. Leaves it for Watson. Watson throws the floater up and in. 71-58. 7:15 on the clock in the third quarter. Williamson over to Bolden. Bolden sets his dribble. Leaves it for Herring Jr. 7 seconds on the shot clock. Herring Jr.'s got to make a decision here. And Herring Jr. with a big 3 over top of the long Billy White.
Good decision. Good decision.
That's Watson. He's going to crash the lane, throws that floater up again, and he's going hot right now.
Tough shot for Watson. He's actually the leading scorer for Halifax, though. Again, both Watson and White, neither of them have broken 20 in London. Watson looking like he's on pace to do so.
Boyd from 3, no good. Brown with the rebound. Clinkscales pushes it up to White. White with the spin off of Williamson, and he finishes hard off the glass. And Coach Vassell's called a timeout here for the Lightning as the lead has been cut to 12.
Interesting time for a timeout. It looked like things were kind of rolling for London. Why do you think Coach Vassell called it there?
I think it was getting a little sloppy. We saw the Garrett Williamson turnover there. Maybe not having the same sort of control on the game. Just slow things down, make sure everybody's on the same page with some of their plays. A little scrambly. Not exactly crisp transition where we usually see the Lightning at their best.
You know, London, 74-62, obviously a great start for them. But this Lightning team has had those kind of dead spots in a game where they lose a little bit of the focus, and it's cost them in the past. I think the timeout to kind of relax them and just be like, hey, we're still good, is probably a good idea right now.
And you know, when you're a coach, you always talk about, like, defensively, you want consecutive stops. The inverse is when you have the other team get consecutive buckets like that. You know, you still got a 12-point lead, but it's been trimmed a little bit.
You want to keep that double digit.
And you want to make sure that it doesn't, you want to make sure your fundamentals are right to kind of make sure this, you want to keep it double digit, exactly. You don't want it going single digit and then having to call a timeout when it's a 6-point lead. So I understand the thought process. Maybe a little overcautious, but you also, you have to trust the coach knowing his team and how they respond.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. We still haven't seen a bench point from the Halifax Hurricanes. You got to hope someone gets it going there, but realistically, there's only been 4 shots taken by a bench player in this game. Here's where my concern is. Obviously, because of the foul situation, White didn't play a ton of minutes in the past couple of games. But if you look at the whole season, those guys have logged a lot of minutes. So you need that bench to get involved at some point. So we're going to see the same 5 out again for Halifax, but the bench needing to help at some point.
If I had told you that before the game that the bench points would be heavily in London's favor with the bench size.
It's impressive the way that London's been able to continue to get that support from the bench. And mention the bench, and here they come. Yoanni Dallenberg and Kyle Johnson on the floor for the Lightning. Dallenberg with the ball. He drives hard to the net. Brown travel, no. Dallenberg just a few too many steps down there. So a turnover here by the Hurricanes. Big opportunity to bite into this lead a little further. Clinkscales kicks out to White. White out to Clinkscales on the exterior. No good. Billy White with a great rebound through Mo Bolden there. Tyrone Watson crashing towards the net, and he finishes. And the Hurricanes are rolling right now. Kyle Johnson, 3 over top of Mason, well off the mark. Almost a panic 3 there from Kyle Johnson. Watson's gonna crash, and he can't finish, but he's gonna go to the foul line here.
You know, Ty Watson right now is just kind of feasting. He's been having a huge game, over 20 points now for the Halifax Hurricanes. You know, the way he's been playing, we talk about guys logging a lot of minutes. He's been the most energetic of any of the Halifax players on the court, I think. Ty Watson providing a lot for his team. Tom?
Yeah, no. I would agree completely. You know, we're looking at, he's really changed the pace of this game. That pit bull mentality down low, really muscled in some baskets. And we were talking earlier about how Coach Vassell wanted to kind of get control of this. Well, Coach Leslie has to be thrilled because he's had those consecutive stops that you really look for as a coach.
And as a whole, Watson's kind of sped up what was starting to look like a sluggish Hurricanes offense in the third.
So the lead has been cut down to 9, 5:14 on the clock. Bolden over to Johnson. Johnson steps up, takes a jumper from the free throw line, and Kyle Johnson with the answer bucket right there. Clinkscales around the screen. He's going to make his way into the lane, tries to throw to Ramel Brown.
Yeah, he didn't let him land.
Yeah, Dallenberg just didn't give Brown the chance to land. Fouls on the floor. And a great inbounds pass there. Antoine Mason under the net. And Clinkscales almost with the turnover. And the Lightning with a lazy inbound there off the bucket almost cost themselves. Herring Jr. with control. He'll move across the timeline. Around the screen of D'Alembert. Kicks to Bolden. Bolden leaves it for Friesen Laddie, and that's going to be an offensive foul. Bolden running over Antoine Mason. Great show of sportsmanship there, though, as Billy White helps get Bolden up off the floor.
Kyle Johnson and Clinkscales getting into it again. They were after each other last game.
Clinkscales moves across the half court. Watson with the ball, down low to White. White's going to try and take Bolden to the net. He takes him for a ride. Can't finish. Ramel Brown almost with the finish, though, and that goes off the rim. Herring Jr., he's driving, gets the floater, no good, but Watson's going to pick up the foul. Herring Jr. will shoot free throws.
Only the first on Tyrone Watson, so foul's still not a factor in that front court for Halifax yet. Tom.
What a surprise. Doug Herring Jr. kind of sensing the momentum of the game, just getting himself to the line, hunting the chest and slowing the pace down. Tough shot. If he had made that, my goodness, but just getting the contact, getting to the line.
He grabs his first free throw. Two for two for Herring Jr. Kyle Johnson just being in the pocket of Cliff Clinkscales. Big block by Yoanni D'Alembert, but Herring Jr. trying to save the ball. Tyrone Watson smart enough to collect it. As Billy Watson finishes under the rim, Herring Jr. now in control of the offense. Herring Jr. almost loses the ball out of bounds. Herring Jr. driving again. Can't finish. D'Alembert with the rebound, though. D'Alembert can't go. D'Alembert again with the rebound. Billy White all over him right now. Friesen Laddie's going to reset things. Kicks to Boyd. Boyd down low to D'Alembert. D'Alembert outside to Herring Jr. Kyle Johnson in the corner, and he finishes. Hey.
Great extra pass from Doug Herring Jr.
Some great energy play there from D'Alembert down low. One chance didn't finish. Second chance rebound opportunity. He resets, kicks it out, lets the offense go to work. That's Billy White faking three, leaves it for Mason. Mason using that speed to get past Bolden. Another big block by D'Alembert. Watson with the rebound, though. Unfortunately, that big block by D'Alembert isn't rewarded the other way, but he fouls Watson and sends him to the line.
Looks like London brought out the fly swat right there. D'Alembert, another big swat.
What a shout out for D'Alembert here for, as you mentioned, the great kick out, the awareness after the hustle for the board to kick it out, and then obviously Herring Jr. giving up a good shot for a great shot, Kyle Johnson, but D'Alembert here playing some incredible minutes. Exactly what the doctor ordered for London going into this game.
You know, I think a lot of the time in NBL Canada, you see a lot of bigs who kind of get under the basket and then get a little, get their blinders on. So a great job by D'Alembert to not just force something up at the rim, to instead make the right play.
Watson's going to go to the bench here. They're going to put Reefer on the floor.
Watson, I can't think of a time where he's been on the bench yet tonight, so maybe a good idea to rest him up a bit.
Under 3 minutes remaining in the third, 81-70. London Lightning still hold the advantage. Herring Jr. moving Boyd over. He leaves that ball for Friesen Laddie. Friesen Laddie's going to kick towards the basket. And we've got a carryover. Not a call you see a ton of in professional basketball. Just got that hand under the ball a little too much. Billy White driving on Dallenberg, spins off him. Great move by Billy White.
You know, one thing to note, both Billy White and Ty Watson having their best scoring night here in London that they've had all series. Also, high number of assists for big men from both of them, so they're getting that inside-outside game working nicely. Now they just got to get it enough that they can catch up to London.
Herring Jr., he's going to drive. He tries to go underneath the rim, and that's Ramel Brown who's going to pick up the foul as Herring Jr. has crashed in the rim so far late in this third quarter.
That's a third foul there. Or pardon me, they're going to give it to Ramel Brown. I thought that might be on Mason. Not sure what the refs are discussing here, if it's shots or not.
Yeah, they're trying to decide if it was a shot or not. It looked pretty clearly like he was trying to do the wraparound under the rim.
Okay, they're going to give him the shots.
They're going to give him the shots.
I was going to say, it looked like Herring Jr. was trying to do the up and under, right? But I thought that was the one on Mason, so when they said it was Brown, that's why I thought maybe it happened in the lane on the way to the hoop. But the refs deciding it's a shooting foul.
Once again, look who's at the line, slowing the game down, making the smart play, driving to the rim.
You know, we didn't see a lot of scoring out of Doug Herring Jr. in the games here in London. He upped his scoring quite a bit in games 1 and 2. We didn't really see the scoring side show up, but tonight, leading scorer for the London Lightning at 18, hoping to make it 19 points.
2 for 2 for Herring Jr.
You know, one of the things, Halifax very familiar with Herring Jr. Herring Jr., a former St. John's Mill rat, getting himself involved in this game as a scorer.
Billy White matched up again on Dallenberg. Dallenberg trying to use that length with the veteran presence of Billy White. Dallenberg is going to pick up the reach-in foul there.
That's number 4 on Dallenberg.
Yes.
And it's funny, we've talked about Halifax's foul trouble. It kind of snuck up on us. Both Boyd and Bolden 3 fouls, and now Dallenberg at 4. So really all of the 3 major front court members of the Lightning kind of flirting with some foul difficulties.
Billy White at the line here. The Lightning have pushed the Hurricanes over the limit. Dallenberg 2 for 2. Kirk Williams Jr. is going to check into the game for Dallenberg.
Williams Jr. really the only guy capable of playing those front court minutes.
And it looks like Leslie's going to make a matching substitution of his own as Watson comes on the floor in place of Brown. (83-74), the Hurricanes have trimmed the lead down to 9. Down under 2 minutes remaining. Kyle Johnson catch and release 3, no good. And Mason goes hard to the floor there as him and Boyd were fighting for the foul, or sorry, fighting for the rebound.
Antoine Mason really unhappy with the refs in this game.
So the Lightning will grab possession off the miss. Mike Poole into the game for Antoine Mason. That's Kyle Johnson with the ball. Tyrone Watson just bats it right out of his hands, straight out of bounds. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Johnson holds it. He's going to set his dribble. Trying to make his way down low to Boyd. Boyd can't get it to go off the glass. Billy White's going to pick up the foul here, and Billy White is getting just a little perturbed here with the referees. Doesn't like the calls.
Side note, that's a great word you used there. But Billy White, Tyrone Watson, again, trying to keep themselves clean. But another foul to one of those front court members. You already had to send Antoine Mason to the bench to cool down.
It's our last call of the year. I figured I'd whip out the thesaurus.
Yeah.
You know. Julian Boyd gets his first free throw. Boyd 2 for 2. That's Clinkscales moving the ball down the court. Clinkscales down low to White. He's going to back Kirk Williams Jr. up. White pushing, and who's going to pick up the foul here? If it's Boyd, that's huge.
We talked about earlier in the game how when Kirk Williams Jr. stepped in, Bolden stepped off. It was Billy White really attacking Kirk Williams Jr. And look at it again. Kirk Williams Jr. steps onto the court. Billy White attacks him right away.
That's such a tough matchup if you're Kirk Williams Jr. Now, you got to give him a lot of credit. We've talked in the other games, too, how he's just been all over the floor with his matchups. But Billy White, when Billy White's on, that's a tough matchup for almost anybody in the league, let alone Kirk Williams.
I feel like there's a little bit of, not necessarily desperation, but okay, let's get this back under control from Halifax, especially those front court guys, because we've seen a lot more energy and a lot more productivity out of all those guys, really.
I'm very interested. How do you close this? Just like we were talking about before, this is a big swing. Do you get into single digits, or do you have a little bit of a cushion going into the fourth?
So down under a minute remaining here in the third quarter. Herring Jr. looking to create a shot for the Lightning. Kyle Johnson, quick jumper, no good. That's Reefer with the rebound. Ball, of course, ends up in the hand of Cliff Clinkscales. And really, Reefer kind of runs down Williams Jr., maybe with a little bit of a stell there, but either way, he'll take that turnover any day. Herring Jr. across half. He's going to take a quick three. No good. Julian Boyd tries to bat it in. Julian Boyd again. Julian Boyd again.
Smart job by Friesen Laddie. Pull it out there, kill some more clock, settle it down.
And really just 2 or 3 opportunities under the basket for Julian Boyd. He can't finish. Williams Jr. is going to throw it up. He can't finish either. Mike Poole with the rebound. Deep down the court to Billy White. Billy White throws it off Friesen Laddie's head. Herring Jr. moving quickly. He's going to reset. They've got time to shoot. Herring Jr. driving. Big finish there from Herring Jr. And the Lightning go into the half of the 12-point lead. They'll go into the fourth quarter with a 12-point lead, 87-75. The Lightning again going into a break strong.
And we were talking about how London getting that momentum swing, getting that double-digit lead, maintaining that heading into the fourth, the way that builds your confidence. Tom, coming into the fourth, what does Halifax have to do to try and slow down London enough that they can kind of make a little bit of a run at it? Because right now, every punch Halifax has had, London's had a counter.
Well, you got to find a way to contain Doug Herring Jr. Doug Herring Jr., in my opinion, has honestly been the reason that this has not been a way closer game. After that third quarter, Herring Jr. with the smart plays, going to the rim, getting fouls. Now, all of a sudden, some Halifax guys are having to think twice before they attempt some defense at the rim, some rim protection. Really interesting to see how they can kind of contain Doug Herring Jr. because he's getting to the rim now pretty easily, and he's drawing that contact. So
I think one of the things that London did really well going into halftime, London shooting the three ball exceptionally well. And I think Halifax came out of the half thinking, okay, we got to stop the perimeter game. Before Halifax even had a chance to stop it, London was attacking the inside. They were getting those looks down low. And now they've been a lot more frugal about their three-point shooting. They're still shooting 50%, but they didn't take nearly the amount that we saw in the first half. And I think that was a smart sort of chess move there by Keith Vassell, that London, again, they were shooting the three ball so well, Halifax was probably coming out of the half planning for it, but London pulled the switcheroo.
And I really think, too, that, since I'll keep on giving praise to Doug Herring Jr., It's the idea of giving what the defense lets you have. You know, if the defense is going to now start closing in on your three-point shooters, start playing inside, start attacking the rim. And then if you counter, it's all about how do you counter. It's like boxing. It's not necessarily your first punch, it's how do you react. It's how do you maneuver yourself for the next play down the court.
It's funny, if we come into this game and I told you that heading into the fourth quarter, both Tyrone Watson and Billy White were over 20 points, we'd probably think Halifax was winning. But London's just had that strong of a game, and it's really been spread out. London, basically five of their players already in double-digit points. And again, the other surprising thing, London being shorthanded, 2 of those 5 came off their bench.
And really, too, that was a veteran third quarter. A lot of teams would have let that slip and let Halifax back into this. It's not over, don't get us wrong. But they would have made this a much closer game. London just was calm enough, kept them at bay, and now it's about closing it out in such an important game going out east.
So the start of the fourth quarter, Hurricanes with possession, Lightning with the lead, 87-75. Once again from Budweiser Gardens, Game 5 of the NBL Canada Finals. Tyrone Watson crashing down towards the rim, and Tyrone Watson keeps up his offensive pace.
Well, that's 24 for the Canadian, former Canadian of the Year, having a phenomenal night for Halifax. Just not really any support coming from the Halifax bench.
Friesen Laddie down low to Bolden. Bolden, a rather ineffective night, hasn't seen the floor as much. Friesen Laddie gets the easy jumper. The defense there forced to help out Dixon underneath the rim. Bolden just found the easy pass to Friesen Laddie. Clinkscales to Billy White. Billy White in tough under the rim, and he loses that as Bolden kind of knocks it out of his hands.
Good help defense from Kirk Williams. White spun on Bolden thinking he'd have it. Williams was right there.
Williamson kicks, that's going to go out off of Reefer's hands. No arguments from anybody there.
You know, we talked about how important this game is. Halifax at least has the comfort of knowing they're going home after this. Even if you are down 3-2, there's a little bit of consolation. There's no consolation for London if they lose this one. This is a crucial game, even more so for London.
Worth mentioning, during that inbounds while they were setting it up, Friesen Laddie getting very vocal with his team on the floor. And that's what you like to see from players, getting their team into it. And he's going to turn the ball over there, though, unfortunately. Billy White with the pickoff pass. Reefer goes the other way and lays in the big two-handed slam.
You know, it's great that he had that big slam. That's the first bench points from the Halifax Hurricanes. The first.
Williamson across half court. The Lightning clearly in no hurry here. Lots of bodies just standing around right now. Mo Bolden with the ball. He'll leave it for Joel Friesen Laddie. Over to Kyle Johnson. Mo Bolden needs to shoot. Goes off the rim, no shot clock violation, but really not what you want to see from the Lightning there as the Hurricanes get off quick in transition. Billy White loses the ball. Williamson almost smartly throws it off White's feet, but they said his foot was already out of bounds, so the Hurricanes will maintain possession.
It wasn't that it went off, it didn't go off of White. It hit off of White and then right back at Williamson.
Clinkscales trying to find a friend to inbounds to. That's Billy White. A little bit of a size mismatch there. Goes all the way cross court to Clinkscales.
They want to get this down
Reefer
low.
in the corner. Billy White off the glass. That's going to go out of bounds.
They recognized it was White covered by Williamson there. Trying to take advantage of the mismatch. I didn't catch who it was, but the help defender came over, broke up that pass. Really saved what would have been a tough one. I believe that was Bolden who went down low to help out. But that was a really astute play by Bolden because Williamson, if that lob gets into White's hands cleanly, that's an easy 2 points for the Hurricanes. Instead, Bolden plays defensive back, knocks that pass away.
Not sure what's going on here. Refs are at the scorer's table. Personally, I think it might be a clock issue. That ball never touched the rim, but I believe the shot clock reset. Yeah, they are going to change the clock.
I believe you're correct, yeah.
They did go from 19 to 12 seconds here.
Got to inbound it. There
Poole
you go.
with the inbound to Watson. Watson trying to get Bolden towards the net, but that's a pickoff by Joel Friesen-Laddie, and Watson's going to pick up the foul, running down the court. You know, Joel Friesen-Laddie is a quick man. Watson was step for step with him there. That was impressive for the big man.
That was great hustle for the Canadian, keeping up with Friesen-Laddie, but unfortunately the foul, that's going to be 3 on Watson.
And nobody there for the pass from Williamson. Williamson's got to make a decision. He's going to foul Watson as he just hucks it up towards the rim. Williamson's going to keep the ball on the floor.
Again, now you force him to earn it with a play. It might be not continuation, but it might be clear court, so they might just give it in the shots.
Coach Leslie having a quick word with his team. Kyle Johnson's going to step off the court. Herring Jr. back on. Herring Jr. Kind of slyly staying by the Hurricane huddle there. Maybe picking up some insider information.
Hey guys, I love that play by Garrett Williamson. 3-on-1, and you're forcing it to be free throws.
Really
Incredible
heads up.
job.
Really heads up. And again, Hurricanes only shooting 60% from the free throw line tonight, so I mean, there's a good chance this could end up being a beneficial play for London if they only get one.
Watson does finish his first, though. 2 for 2 for Watson, so the lead is down to 8, 9.5 remaining in the game. Herring Jr. in the lane to Williams Jr. Can't finish the lay-in. Watson to Reefer, Clinkscales to Poole, and Friesen-Laddie's going to pick up the foul on Billy White.
You know, I love Clinkscales' game, but a couple times in this game I've seen him with a chance at a three-point shot. I just kind of wish he'd pull the trigger on. He's one of the better three-point shooters. I know some of them are a little bit contested, but otherwise a fantastic point guard. And for the most part makes the right decisions. There's a couple I wish he'd take a chance on.
That's Mike Poole with the miss on the three-point attempt. Friesen-Laddie grabs the rebound. You know, the Lightning, I think, just really need to settle down here and make a bucket. It's been a while since they've had a make. Williamson out to Mo Bolden. Mo Bolden leaves it for Friesen-Laddie from 3. No good. Poole with the rebound. Clinkscales waiting for his players to set up. That's Reefer, who will kick it back to Cliff. Poole top of the arc. That's Reefer from 3, and Reefer with the follow through.
Literally the only bench points for the Halifax Hurricanes. Theon Reefer stepping up. The three-point shot has been eluding the Hurricanes, but if they can get anyone to start making those, that would be huge for the Hurricanes.
Williamson's going to drive. Williamson with the reverse lay-in, and my goodness, nothing going right for the Lightning so far in this fourth quarter.
They're wondering who put that lid on the basket right now.
Watson, he's going to drive, and he finishes off the glass, and yeah, an easy timeout here for Coach Vassell.
Great run there from the Halifax Hurricanes. Absolutely, not even so much crawling, but sprinting their way back into the game.
Yeah, really sprinting back into this. You know, we had all of our mutual friend Bill Ovens up here in the booth for a few moments here.
My guy.
What's cooking with Bill Ovens? He made a great point mentioning that, you know, if you're trying to get into this game and break it down in chunks, if you're London, you want to get to 100 before Halifax gets to 90, and as you go, right? Well, they haven't done it.
Yeah,
and
that
here's
plan,
Halifax.
That plan kind of
And
self-destructed.
here's Halifax. So, but it was the exact opposite. If you're Coach Leslie, we want to beat them to 90 if they're trying to get to 100. So Watson has been incredible in the second half. A Pitbull really forcing London to make some tough decisions, blowing by that first man, and then that London help defense, which is so aggressive, having to make really quick decisions. Either they're getting the guy or they're having to leave their man, and it's really put them in bad position. And here's Halifax.
You know, we always think of Watson basically as essentially a power forward, but he's always had that more wing type of skill set as well. So that's one of those things I think we kind of slept on is Watson. We were expecting the crashing and banging. He's obviously done that, but we've seen him run the floor and outrun guys. We've seen him turn corners on guys. And And I think that's something London almost slept on a bit with Watson. He's taken full advantage.
Yeah, no, and you look at a guy, it's amazing how he might not have had many points there, but how many of those offensive plays London had to overshade to Billy White, and the fact that Billy White is in the game is making a huge difference.
As far as I obviously don't have the minutes for tonight's game in front of me. That doesn't come up until after, unfortunately, for us up here. But Billy White, probably his first game in London, he's going to go over 30 minutes. And just like that, Halifax, we talked about how every time Billy White's in the game, London's scoring drops like a rock. Look at that, only 89 right now.
So the Lightning with possession out of the timeout from London. Williams Jr. leaves it for Friesen Laddie. Friesen Laddie around a couple bodies. He's going to drive to the rim past Clinkscales. Great move by Cliff Clinkscales to rob Friesen Laddie. Mo Bolden's going to pick up the foul there to keep Watson from getting to the lane too easy. And pretty much for 3 quarters, we talked about, London coming out of timeouts, whether it was their own or the Hurricanes, with energy, keeping the lead in their favor, big defensive efforts. And in this 4th quarter, the Hurricanes have come out of breaks just like the Lightning did in those first 36 minutes. That's Poole. Poole throws a lay-in, no good. Billy White, he's going to get fouled, so he's going to go to the line for free throws here.
Listen to how quiet this crowd is, folks.
A pin could drop in here right now on the court.
London Public Library.
Yeah. Yeah, this crowd is stunned. They've watched a lead that has reached 20 at points, just down to 3, barring a couple Billy White free throws. As he drains his first one. Two for 2 for Billy White. And the Lightning need an answer basket in the worst way right now. Friesen Laddie trying to get rid of Mike Poole. Boyd alone under the net, but tons of help there, but he's going to get fouled. That's number 10, Mike Poole's going to pick up the call. So Boyd to the line, a couple, 2 free throws in this case could be big.
Well, for London, even just putting any points on the board right now, getting some sort of momentum going offensively. Sometimes all it takes is a free throw to get it going. So London's got to hope that that's what's coming.
Two for 2 for Boyd. Mike Poole kicks down low to Watson. Watson's going to try and do it himself as he has been all game. Kicks out to Poole. Up top to White. Clinkscales with the ball. Over to Watson. Watson's going to drive. High off the glass. No good. Williamson with the rebound. Williamson pushing the pace. And Mike Poole's going to take the foul.
Again, London coming fast and furious right there. I'm okay with that foul.
That's just what the doctor ordered. 2 for the Lightning. Defensive stop one way. Move quickly the other way. Push the pace. Push the pace that you've been pushing all season. Get these Hurricane defenders uncomfortable.
Here's Herring Jr. on Clinkscales again. They were on this matchup in the first.
And Herring Jr. is just going to back him right down. Boyd fakes the shot. Up for Williamson. Williamson to Williams Jr. Down under 10 to shoot. Williams Jr. leaves it for Bolden. Bolden fakes 3. Goes one way. Down low to Williams Jr. No good, but Boyd. And that never touched the rim, so we're going to get a shot clock violation. And once again, the Lightning players just unable to find the basket within about a couple feet of the rim right now.
I think the Lightning are trying to claim that hit the rim. I don't know if it did.
6.5 on the game clock, 91 to 88. Lightning still hold their lead, although it's been slimmed. Antoine Mason, don't want to get him too fired up. Poole, down low to White. White to Poole, Poole with a deep three, no good. Bolden with the rebound.
Only 3 on the shot clock there. Wasn't much of a choice for Poole. Good defense from London.
And Junior across the timeline. And Junior up to Boyd. Boyd from the top of the arc, 3. Julian Boyd with a big 3. And the Lightning needed some help on offense, and Julian Boyd comes in, gets a little spark going. And there's Williams Jr. back on Clinkscales, knocks it out of his hands, but Clinkscales gonna go inside, throws it up off the glass, can't finish, rebound there. A little bit of ping pong between Mike Poole, Williamson, and Boyd. Williamson driving. Aaron Jr. is gonna settle things down. Down under 10 to shoot. Big two-handed slam from Bolden. What a feed from Herring Jr. as he pumps the crowd up. And Mike Leslie's going to call a timeout as the momentum is clearly in the Lightning's favor right now. Tom.
Huge answer back from the London Lightning. Doug Herring, that matchup with Clinkscales has been to London's advantage all game. They go back to it in the end, and not always does it have to be the one-on-one play, like the back down, but the help that has to come and the shifting that defense has to do to address that. If I'm Halifax, I'm looking at potentially trying to hide Clinkscales on maybe Kirk Williams or somebody who's a little less aggressive on offense, because right now it's really forcing that Halifax defense to be in positions they don't want to be in and creating lanes like that one for the Bolden dunk.
I think offensively, London kind of threw a wrench in the plans of Halifax by throwing Kirk Williams Jr. on Clinkscales defensively there.
Again,
we've seen it from time to time, but I think London went away from it for long enough that Halifax was like, all right, we're probably not going to see that for a bit, and then boom, there he is. Playing tough defense, forces the shot clock violation, and London was able to turn that into points on the other end.
It helps when you got a Swiss Army knife of a defender in Kirk Williams Jr., where it's like, okay, now we're going to put you on Clinkscales. Now we're going to put you on Brown. And it's been really to the advantage of the Lightning defensively.
And really, when you have him and Bolden on the floor, you've got 2 guys who can defend the entire lineup.
So we'll go back to game action here. 5 minutes, 24 seconds remaining in game 5. The Lightning put the momentum back in their favor before that timeout, 96-88. And that matchup is still live as Kirk Williams Jr. is tight on Clinkscales. Billy White open under the rim. Poole missed him. Mason out to Clinkscales. Down low to Watson. Big on big. Watson muscling his way to the net. Julian Boyd, though, makes it tough. Williams Jr., he's going to settle it down. Aaron Jr. resetting near half court. Around Bolden, leaves it for Bolden in the quarter, and that's going to be an easy foul call there as Clinkscales got in on the hands of Bolden trying to make the pass.
You know, this is clearly a veteran London team, the way they know to slow things down. I don't think we've seen a single possession in maybe the last 3 or 4 minutes where London hasn't tried to just kind of calm things down and take their time.
Kyle Johnson's going to come on the floor for Kirk Williams Jr.
But London's done a great job really bleeding out these last couple of minutes.
Williamson again resets. They're going to use the entirety of the shot clock. Williamson driving. Big block by Poole. Williamson needs to get in there. And that's a rebound for the Hurricanes. Clinkscales kicks to White. And a late whistle there, as Boyd's going to pick up the foul on Billy White.
A couple thousand referees not loving that call.
I think they might have called it differently. So Billy White to the line. Misses his first though, shorts it off the front of the rim.
Halifax only 66% from the line in this game. Lots of free points given up.
And he puts his second one away, though. Herring Jr. back to Bolden. Bolden to Boyd. Kyle Johnson open in the corner. He's going to step around it. Billy White with the turnover, though. Tyrone Watson all the way down the floor. He finishes off the glass. Down under 4 minutes, 5-point advantage for the Lightning. Williamson, and a great defensive play there from the Hurricanes as Herring Jr. all the time in the world to take that jumper, and he does it. Tyrone Watson top of the arc over to Poole. Poole again top of the arc. Clinkscales trying to set up the offense. He's got to take the shot. Cliff Clinkscales with a big three over top of Kyle Johnson.
That's what I like to see out of Cliff. When he's really feeling that three-point shot, he provides that fifth threat for Halifax. It helps the offense click so much better.
Herring Jr., he drives. He's wide open. Herring Jr. with the big one-handed slam. My goodness. And the London Public Library just turned into Barney's patio.
We went for the same joke.
Herring Jr. again slowing it down. 2.5 on the clock in the quarter. Herring Jr. underneath to Boyd. Easy foul call there.
Beautiful pass there from Herring Jr. to get Boyd to the line, essentially. Just a really nice job by Herring Jr.
I mean, we're talking about a guy taking over the game multiple ways. Seeing the floor offensively, getting up for the jam. And in that play, just, taking control of the pace, really getting the defender on his hip. And, when you've got the defender on your back like that, we talk NBA, you see a guy like Chris Paul, just amazing at that. Puts the defender out of position and then able to find Boyd, because that defender on Boyd on that pick and roll can't decide what he's going to do. Does he have to respect Herring, but you also can't leave Boyd. And then it drew the foul, and here's Boyd making the first and on his way for the second.
He only has 5 assists, but if you think about the ones that ended in fouls, there's a lot more coming off Herring Jr. Really a dream game from your point guard. Herring Jr. doing it all tonight.
Tyrone Watson. Clinkscales over to Mason. Mason, a guy we haven't heard a lot from this game. He clicks over to Clinkscales. Billy White, he's going to try and move Bolden. He loses control of the ball, though. It's bouncing around. Clinkscales. No, they're going to say, and a big block there from Julian Boyd. And we're going to get a jump ball here.
Did Watson touch the ball? London has the possession arrow, so I mean, this is a lot of booing for London
Julian
maintaining.
Boyd inciting the crowd too, though. He says, "Bring it. Let them know. Let them know you're here."
I don't think anybody was happy with that play.
No.
Under 2 minutes remaining. Clinkscales is going to up the pressure on Herring Jr. Herring Jr. driving. He can't get rid of the ball. Clinkscales with the foul. Ramel Brown on the floor. He's up a little slow there. Ramel Brown, I think this is the first time he's checked in this quarter. We talk about a guy that's had a big presence, even though he may not have been getting it done offensively the last couple games. He's been on the court. He's been their biggest defensive tribute.
He was getting it done offensively tonight, too. 11 points, 8 rebounds. And we didn't really see him much at all in the second half.
No, Mike Leslie opting for Mike Poole for a much longer majority in this half than we've seen. Bolden from the corner. Bolden for three, and he knew it once he left his hands.
Turned a good shot into a great shot. Garrett Williamson, great extra pass. Mo Bolden, great finish.
That's Clinkscales. Kicks to Watson. Watson's going to drive out to Clinkscales. Kirk Williams Jr. back on the floor. Long defender giving Clinkscales trouble. Ramel Brown driving underneath the basket to White.
They're going to call foul on Boyd.
Foul's on the floor.
That's 5 on Boyd. London's been doing a good job of keeping those bigs out of the foul trouble that they were in earlier. But that's going to be number 5 on Boyd. Minute 15 left, you probably leave him in, but...
Clinkscales out to White. White thinks 3. He's going to drive, though, over top of Williamson. Williamson's going to pick up the foul. Or no, I believe they might change this to Bolden. No, they do go Garrett Williamson. Either way,
4.
Billy White to the line.
We saw that play a big role even in the last, when we had that overtime game. Essentially, guys on Halifax, they had all their players play the 4 quarters, but a lot of guys fouled out before the overtime, and they were missing them in that extra period.
You know, speaking of guys we really haven't heard a lot from this game either, Antoine Mason, really just a non-factor in this game for the Hurricanes.
Well, he had a pretty good first half, but he's been sitting at 16 points for the majority of the second half here. London's really kind of taken him out of the game entirely.
Herring Jr., he's just going to bleed all the clock he can here. Down under 10 to shoot. 5 to shoot. Herring Jr.'s got to make a decision. He takes the jumper from the elbow off the glass and in. And Herring Jr. just doing it himself this game. Passing, scoring. And that's Watson crashing down. Boyd makes the smart play, doesn't foul. Lets him have the easy basket, but unfortunately a quick basket.
A good quick bucket there by Tyrone Watson. I think everyone but Watson on both teams kind of asleep on that one.
Williamson with the ball. The crowd's on their feet here in Budweiser Gardens. Down under 30 seconds as the Lightning play keep away. Boyd to Kirk Williams Jr. in the corner. He's just going to let him foul him. 23.
Why would you foul him after letting them kill that much clock?
Way too much time off the clock. And then if you're going to let them get that much time off the clock, you try to finish out the possession at least with a stop.
If you've limited them to only 9 seconds left on the shot clock, you might as well play it out at that point.
Yeah. Not sure what the process was there. You would think that maybe Coach Leslie, if there had been a timeout, that might have been different. But I think just because that was in the flow of the game, maybe it didn't get communicated as quickly. Tough situation.
Kyle Johnson checks into the game for Herring Jr. Herring Jr. and big round of applause from the crowd, and well deserved.
Incredible game from him.
Williams Jr. gets his first.
I don't know,
free
Chris.
throw.
You're bringing up Doug Herring Jr. That might be one of the best games I've seen him play as the London Lightning. For just the way
That's the best scoring I've ever seen him do. He also added the passing game.
Yeah.
I got to admit, I remember I was there for the 18 assist game. That might have been his best one ever. But to show you his versatility, doing both,
controlling the pace.
That's Poole with a desperation three, but they're going to foul him.
Can't foul him there.
So Poole moves quickly down the floor. Misses the three-point shot, but he'll take the foul either way.
You got a Halifax miscue and letting that foul, and then you get a London miscue right back the other way.
2-possession game still.
There's enough time, though, for London to kind of be a little nervous right now.
Poole misses his first, though.
Gotta make your free throws.
That hurts. That hurts right now. It strikes me similar, I believe, when I want to say Antoine Mason missed a big free throw in Game 4. Cost him a chance to cut into the lead.
Again, 65% from the charity stripe. That's a lot of points you left on the floor tonight.
He gets second.
Here's the thing. The Hurricanes have missed 10 free throws in the game. You make 7 of those, and you're winning.
Yeah.
That's the difference. You
I
gotta
believe-
make your free throws.
I was going to say, I believe the saying is, got to make your free throws, kids.
In London, a team that traditionally has struggled, all finals long have been burying them.
So, a few last-minute things as we go into the stretch here. We're bringing out the coaching textbook one more time for late game execution. If you're London, don't foul. Don't foul.
Yeah, you want to keep that clock running.
Especially from 3. Do not foul a three-point shooter. Now, if you're Halifax, you want to get something quick to the rim, and then you want to try to get the steal first. But the foul, I don't think you can play. We saw at the end of last game, they kind of got into a bit of a game of let's pick our shooter. I don't think you can get into that game, especially when we have this little time left. I think you just got to foul whoever has the ball. You can't get into that game of just getting beggars can't be choosers.
So out of the timeout here, 6-point game. The Lightning with up 108-102 on the visiting Hurricanes. Both teams are in the bonus, so a foul anywhere on the floor will send somebody to the line.
You want this to Johnson.
Bolden
There
gets it to him. And Clinksdale's going to pick up the hold on him, so Kyle Johnson to the line, but didn't kill a lot of time off the clock, not even a full second there.
At the same time, though, if you're London, you knew they were going to foul you right away. Getting it to your best free throw shooter, not a bad consolation prize there.
Yeah, great job finding the right guy, and that's something when you're in the huddle you've got to be thinking of.
Johnson gets his first.
Looks like Zimmerman might be coming
waiting in the wings, so the Hurricanes are going to get their shooters on the floor here. Zimmerman steps into the game.
Well, I mean, if Zimmerman coming in tells you anything, I think Leslie might be looking for threes. Obviously, it's difficult. 8-point lead, not much time left. How do you handle it if you're the Halifax Hurricanes?
I know we had a bit of this discussion at the end of last game as well, Chris. I think you've got to look for a 3 at this point. I don't think the quick bucket, I don't think you've got enough time to get the quick bucket, get the foul, get back. I think you need to go for a 3. Now, you don't need to just throw one up as a miracle 3, but I think whatever you're running here has to be to get it for 3 rather than automatically going for the quick 2.
I kind of disagree with you. I think you do need that miracle 3. I mean, you've got like seconds left.
I'm saying
8 points. You can't take your time and set up a nice play. You got to get the shot off.
No. But you also don't want to just heave something up. I think it's you might have to, though.
Might have to.
I'm interested to see, does the play go for Zimmerman? Does it go? Mason has had a struggle in the second half.
Depends who inbounds it. We've
always looked
inbounds.
at that. Exactly.
We've seen 2 different major inbound plays that they like to do. One of them, if Clinkscales inbounds it, you're looking Zimmerman. If Mason inbounds it, it's going to go right back to him.
Yeah, let's see how they come out here, Chris.
But then again, if we know that, they probably know that London would know
very
that too,
likely.
Right?
No Mason, by the way. No Mason.
It's Zimmerman inbounding. But it's like you said, the inbounder can sometimes be the most dangerous man. Maybe look for a quick pass and a pass back out. He's going to go to the corner.
And they look to Zimmerman.
Bolden sticks right
Too much time.
And that's Billy White from the corner. No good. Boyd with the rebound. And they're just going to kill the clock out on this game as the Lightning, they came home down 2. They're going to leave home up 1. These Lightning players, the resiliency of them to come back home and do their job. Never panicked, kept themselves ahead every single game, and good for them. The championship is going to be decided in Halifax as the players go to the middle of the floor and they give their fans props.
Just a great effort from the London Lightning. And you know what? There were a lot of people who wrote them off down 2-0. Obviously, it's going to be tough to even win that one in Halifax that they need. But just the gut check from the London Lightning to go down 2-0 and have zero care for that. And instead come into here in London and just put on some of the best basketball I think we've seen from them all playoffs long. Tom, what do you make of that game?
Well, not just this game, but all of the games. Those were not easy victories for London, and for all the people who are questioning, did they have the composure, just the willpower to get these wins? Those were 3 determined wins from the London Lightning. If they have any of that in their luggage going out east, they have a very good chance of pulling out a win.
Other impressive thing for London, each of the 3 games, it was a different player stepping up in a big
Absolutely.
way. Game 3, Julian Boyd. Game 4, Mo Bolden. Game 5, Doug Herring Jr. Those old reliables for London coming through at a very important time. Halifax, here's the thing. We talked about that front court being so important. And again, if I had told you heading into this game, Tyrone Watson with 32 and 10, Billy White with 25, 8 and 6, that Halifax lost that game, that would have been unthinkable the way this series has played out. But instead, a tremendous effort there from the London Lightning, beating the Halifax Hurricanes and now taking a 3-2 series lead going into Halifax. We're going to have the Knockstrom post-game show in just a second. I just wanted to say on behalf of myself, Chris Croucher, Brendan Jameson, Tom Croucher, it's been a pleasure bringing you guys London Lightning basketball on Knockstrom TV. Matt Shelley, our producer, Alex, Aaron, Justin. It's been a real treat working with all you guys, and we look forward to seeing you guys next year. So now we're going to go down to the court for the Knockstrom post-game show. I said it right that time, guys, with Aaron and Justin Prince. Aaron, Justin, take it away.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. And may I say, it's a pleasure to work on all 3 of you this year. As the final score here in Game 5, the Lightning 110 and the Halifax Hurricanes 102, as we see flashlight running across there. A streak of lightning right there as we welcome you here to the Knockstrom post-game once again. JP, fantastic effort. And you know what? This series has shown a lot of X factors lately. We've seen the first 2 games, it was the big 3 of how Halifax Hurricanes taking care of business. But once the scene shifted here to Budweiser Gardens, we've seen a breakthrough effort from Doug Herring Jr., Garrett Williamson, Mo Bolden. But tonight, I believe the X factor was Joel Friesen.
Yeah, Joe Friesen, even though he had just 2 points in the second half, we talked about this before coming on air for the postgame. Those 16 points, I think, really helped spark things out for the Lightning in the second quarter, especially when he went red hot and came off the bench, having a short bench, dealing with injuries himself this season, something the fans wanted to see for him to step up and have this kind of performance. 18 points total tonight from him, and when the scoring slowed down, he tried to pick things up defensively, helped out with rebounds, got 2 steals in this one, had a few fouls in this one, of course, in this kind of a physical game, but one of those X factors as one of the players that really stood out in the first half to set the double-digit lead, to set the tempo for the rest of the way, especially when Herring Jr. and Boyd woke up in the second half.
How was Halifax able to come back in the second half? Because once again, we even said it at the Knockstrom halftime, they are one of the toughest teams to overcome when it comes to the second half. But how did they do it?
Well, first off, they chipped away, took time, chipped slowly at the lead, and then I think in the fourth quarter is when it really started clicking, because they started forcing some sloppy play from London, ball handling mistakes from London, forcing turnovers, going for fast break points, easily getting buckets. It got to as low as a 2-point lead, make that 1-point lead, I believe, in this fourth quarter. That's how close it came when they got things together. Plus, it helps when you have Tyrone Watson getting a double-double today with the 32 points and 10 rebounds. He was one of the X factors, I think, drawing N1s as well as getting plays inside and fighting for those boards. 25 points, Billy White. And
there's George Gervopoulos, one of the real estate owners of London. They are London Answers, a diehard fan.
This guy here, you guys have done such a great job. I want to commend you.
Oh, bless you for that.
We hear you. They are saying across the NBL that we have the best commentators in the league right here.
Thank you, George.
You guys give us a lot of great entertainment.
Your own Jack Nicholson, and we thank you for that.
Thank you.
See you along the way. But anyhow.
As I was trying to say there, basically, though, it was definitely a lot of good performances here that Halifax had to have. Great defense, but in the end, though, I think it's just how things laid out in the final few minutes for London in terms of momentum, in terms of the buckets, in terms of drawing whistles, that ended up putting them over the top to really put together the Daggers in the final couple minutes. Isn't that right, Audley Stevens?
Look, it's a house party now.
Just hanging out. What's going on, guys?
Hey, Audley, glad that you're here. But this series, shifting back to Halifax, London up 3-2, 3 days rest. Anything could happen, of course.
The most interesting thing about this, if you go back after losing the first 2 games, London now is in a position to do something that no team in this league has ever done, come back from an 0-2 deficit to win a series. So, there's a lot on the line here, but it's far from over. Halifax is going back to the Scotiabank Center where they're quite comfortable. This has so far, as you both, I'm sure you touched on already. This has been a home series. If you play at home, you get in the winning team. So the series doesn't heat up until someone loses on the home, and that hasn't happened here. Both teams have done their part. Halifax Hurricanes are feeling good. I mean, they fought all year long. They're the best record in the league, and this is when it's going to really matter for them.
And here's a little interesting statistic, too. If London pulls this off on Thursday, they'll become the first team since 2013 to win it on the road, and that's, of course, when London won it against the then Summerside Storm. Yeah,
absolutely. So there's a lot here, but certainly I don't count this Halifax squad out.
No.
I mean, even in tonight's game, they had, I think it was a 16-point lead at one point, and they battled back and brought it within single digits, and they just keep fighting and keep fighting and keep fighting. You look at this game tonight, and not a whole lot of bench scoring from Halifax. That's very uncharacteristic of them. A guy like Mike Poole goes 1 for 6 from the field. Very uncharacteristic. So, I mean, there's a lot of positives that you can take from this if you're Halifax. They know they didn't play their best basketball, but again, they know they're going back home.
Absolutely. Let's have some final words here, JP, as we wrap up the season here at Budweiser Gardens for 2018. What other words can you say here?
Basically, it's been a wild season, to say the very least. It's definitely been a good season as well. I'm happy to be part of the broadcast for both Windsor and London this season with you, Aaron. And it's been a good season. I can't wait to see what happens from here on out with the finals. Can't wait to see what happens from here on out for next season and see what happens. Definitely a good season overall, I think, Aaron, and it's been a wonderful year to spend broadcasting with you, my friend.
JP, you're number 3, my friend, and we did it. And look, Jody Brown even made the trip too. My goodness, Halifax's photographer. But I'll tell you this, folks, it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve you for all the broadcasts we have done. We've done 3 years of these, and if by chance we don't see you, 3 years, unbelievable.
Good stuff, guys.
We've done over 100 of these. But I'll tell you, if by chance we don't see you for 2018, 2019, let me just say it's been an honor and a privilege once again to serve each and every one of you. Whether if it's here at Budweiser Gardens or over there in Windsor, you can rest assured that we're not going anywhere. We got a lot of summer projects to do here too, JP, so stick around for that. You know where we're going to be. You can page us to us anytime. But once again, the final score, Lightning 110, the Halifax Hurricanes 102. And now some final thoughts. You know, a lot of people, especially all these 10 teams in the NBL Canada season, they may have different outcomes, but one motive remains the same for all of them, and that is to win the coveted NBL Canada Championship. For the Halifax Hurricanes and the London Lightning, this is the 3rd year in a row they've done that. The Halifax Hurricanes, they come onto the road, and they have showed a display of class ever since day one, and all that is credited to their head coach, Mike Leslie. I mean, can you believe somebody that used to be assistant coach for the Island Storm along with Joe Salermo could jump into the spotlight like he did last season? He displayed an amount of class as he did last year, as he did here today and the whole year. For the London Lightning, Keith Fizell's squad, his first full year as a London Lightning coach, he felt the growing pains too because Mike Leslie felt the same way too. But when you look at this, all the players, most of them came back, along with the new players too. They were able to display the amount of attitude and persistency that the London Lightning have provided, and this is why they are in that position now. Finally, in addition to all this, we'd like to pay a tribute to not only a specific person, but of course a specific group. You, the fans. You guys have made this what the NBL Canada is throughout the whole 7 years. A great league for anybody to play in. Anybody's going to get an opportunity, because every time we look around and people approach us, we say, you know what, what's the most important aspect about NBL Canada? That is the fans. So you have a lot to be proud of, and I hope you give the same amount of encouragement and support like you did for the St. John's Edge when the Sudbury Five come in next season. So that's going to be an interesting ride. But for us, the scene shifts to Halifax. We leave you into the good hands of Vince Williams and Matt Elliott for the final 2 games, if necessary, Thursday night. But once again, that's it. Thank you once again for being a part of us here on Knockstrom TV, and we hope we see you down the way real soon, because we can't go away that easy. Trust me, we'll be around the road. So we'll see you once again, wherever that may be. This has been a presentation of Knockstrom Digital Media, producing the media excellence in Southern Ontario. For our executive producer, Juan Alejandro De Mero, our camera people, Juan De Mero, our director, Matt Shelley, along with our commentators throughout Windsor and London, and for my colleague, JP Justin Prince. This be Aaron Sanders saying thank you, we love you for it, and till we meet again, so long from the Forest City.